Day. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a Hump Day edition of the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Brooke Grimsley is here. Super Bowl champ Kerry Davis is here. Matthew Rocchio, I'm Randy Carricker. It's great to have you with us on 101 ESPN, and you can watch us live now on your YouTube. Just get your phone out as you're driving down the road and go to YouTube and go to at 101 ESPN STL. CD, no?
Not while they're driving.
Why?
Come on.
I don't do that.
While they're driving. But when they get to work, you can sit down, type it in, and just post it up in your cubicle or wherever you are.
People want to see you.
Yeah, I don't think they should do that while they're driving. You should keep both eyes on the road, not, both eyes on us, although we are a very lovely-looking crew.
We are. I mean, we are all dressed up this morning, especially Randy is extremely dressed up.
You know I do this every day.
When I came in today, I said, Randy, what do you got going on? He's like, the cameras.
It's like picture day. He's dressed
Got
up
his Cardinals
so
tie.
well.
Cardinal tie.
You look like you're ready for actual TV.
You ready for whatever?
I don't even wear this on actual TV. So anyway, you can go to the old YouTube at 101 ESPN STL, and we'd love to have you watch us. You can do so every single day from here on out on YouTube, and you can watch us until 11 today. We're on till 11.
Oh. Are we back to our normal time?
We are.
Yeah.
7-11? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
McKernan's not going to be able to fill in for a couple of weeks, apparently.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so.
It is the holiday season.
As it stands right now, though, this is going to be the only time I think we have to go to 11.
Don't say that without us knowing for sure, Rock.
Yeah.
I qualified.
So, guys.
Sunshine, lollipops, and
No. This is legit. Together. So, the last time we convened on Friday, the Cardinals had lost 14-0 to the Houston Astros. Today, as we convene, they only lost by 13 to the Miami Marlins. So, incremental progress is being made by our St. Louis Cardinals. Didn't lose by 14, only lost by 13. 15-2 yesterday in Miami. Here's the way it sounded at the merciful conclusion of the game.
Your career ERA?
27. Gave up 3 runs.
Didn't go well. All right. Bouncing ball to second. Flip to first. It's a Marlins win.
That's not Chip Carey on Bally Sports. That is Bally Sports Sun Sports, whatever it is. That's the Marlins television network, and they're excited about winning. And Chip was not going to be very excited about losing 15-2. He probably said, this one's over.
It's their 50th loss of the season.
Yeah. No, well, it's happened in a hurry.
Yeah.
35-50.
Yep. 35-50. That doesn't even seem real.
Guys, it's the worst I have ever seen. It's horrible. And poor Adam Wainwright, who wanted to go out with somewhat of a flourish. I mean, last year he was 11-12. He threw 190-plus innings. He had a 3.27. All these people are saying, he shouldn't have come back. Why? You were at least a league average pitcher last year. Why would you not come back after an 11-12 with a 3.27 and more than 190 innings pitched?
Randy, how much is he getting paid a year?
$17 million.
Who in the hell isn't coming back for $17 million?
Yeah.
I mean, not that that's the only reason he came back, but I mean, you work your job anywhere. Anyone out there, they're going to offer you $17 million for one more year. I think you can twist my arm a little bit to do that.
And by the way, this is an Adam Wainwright life decision. Waino has told me on multiple occasions that Jeff Suppan told him, hey, if you're considering retiring, don't do it until you're sure it's completely out of your system, because once you're gone, you're gone.
Yes.
And so that's the way Adam has approached things, and he still wanted to compete this year. And he didn't think the Cardinals were going to be 35-50 after 85 games. I didn't think they were going to be 35-50 after 85 games.
No, I don't think anybody did. And the way that they've been performing, you get like a little small glimmer of hope. They give you, a game where you're like, okay, I can see where they can put this together. And then you have what happened Monday and yesterday, and it just absolutely rips away any hope that you have. I tweeted this out. I think we've reached or passed the allotment of how many rock bottoms you can hit in one season.
Yeah. This is what bad teams do. Bad teams tease you.
You go and win 2 or 3 versus the Yankees, and then you have, as Brooke said, that game on Monday where you're up. You're supposed to win that game. It's 4-2. Palante comes in. Now you're down 5-4. that's what this team is. They are not a good team. They are not good enough in all facets of the game. Pitching specifically is the main issue that they have had all season long. We have talked about it from the starters to relievers. Every part of this rotation, every pitcher on this staff has had a part in this, and that's really where they are right now.
Adam Wainwright goes 3 1/3. He allows 7 runs, 4 earned. He allows 3 hits, walks 2 on 81 pitches in 3 1/3. And after the game, it was revealed that he will go on the IL with shoulder inflammation. What has Wainwright been dealing with?
I've had some shoulder discomfort for a couple weeks now that I thought I was going to get over the hump. I've never had shoulder stuff before, so it's kind of new for me. Back is always a thing, but back's all right. Back's way worse last year and pitched great. So I think more than anything, it's just dealing with some shoulder stuff that we're going to look at, and we'll just see what the doctor has to say, and plan is to come back strong. I mean, listen, I'm either going to come back and pitch great, or I'll be a great cheerleader. But the plan is the first one. The plan is I'm not giving up. So I still want to go out there and do great. I feel like I'm going to. I just got to get myself in a better position to be able to do that. Stop kidding myself.
And Adam Wainwright is traveling back from Miami to St. Louis this morning, so he will not be joining us at 9:30 as he usually does, but we'll have him again next week. But it's got to be frustrating for anybody who's ever pitched and never had a shoulder issue, then to get to 41 and have a shoulder issue, which is what happens when you get to be a 41-year-old athlete. Things start to break down a little bit.
The thing that is a little bit confusing to me, though, is, and I know that Oli Marmol was asked about this after the game whenever he announced that Adam Wainwright was going to the injured list, is that this is something that he's been dealing with. And so then you start to wonder, how long has he been dealing with this? And Derek Gould did a good job of pressing him with that question. And he said, well, this is something he's been dealing with for a while. So then the question comes up, why have we been sending him out there knowing that he wasn't at 100%?
He also mentioned he had a back injury. How long do you think he had that?
About a week back.
Oh, okay.
Cut the cameras. Cut the cameras.
Back from a vacation strong. See, I'm proud of you.
Here's the thing, though.
No.
I'm guessing that the Cardinals and Oli Marmol and Dusty Blake, such as he is your pitching coach, all due respect, I'm guessing that they thought that a compromised 41-year-old Adam Wainwright was better than the alternative. And that tells you a lot about where the Cardinals are in terms of depth of starting pitching in their organization right now.
And that goes back to what you were saying, CD, is that this is one of those deficiencies that we're starting to see exposed right now, is the pitching staff, especially starting pitching, because Adam Wainwright has been that backbone for the starting rotation, but obviously he is dealing with father time, this injury that he has been dealing with for a while, and you wonder what else was in place. Where are the 6 starters that we were hearing about? Remember that? Where are that?
I've been looking around, but
You found it,
I haven't.
So we've got a lot of Cardinals for you this morning. They lose 15-2. They play the Marlins again tonight. By the way, congratulations. There might not be a nicer guy in baseball than Skip Schumacher. I love him. So, as much as we don't like seeing the Cardinals lose 15-2, if somebody's going to beat them 15-2, I'm glad it's Skip.
You think he's up listening to us right now?
Yes.
On the app?
Skip all the
Totally.
Now you can see it, Skip.
Yeah. Hey, Skip.
On YouTube.
Yep, YouTube at 101 ESPN STL. Yeah, he's a guy that would get in touch with us on a regular basis when he was driving down to the ballpark. Zach Thompson, by the way, didn't make a scheduled start last night. Last I saw, he had gotten his earned run average down at Memphis below 10, so he might fit right in with the Cardinal rotation here.
There's your 6.
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
Can we? Is it too much that? Hey, listen.
What are you asking for?
I just want people to go out there and do the job that they're paid for, do it well. And I know that these guys are giving their all, they're doing their best, but the thing as a professional athlete, we know that when you're not performing well consistently, your job is on the line. It doesn't matter. At some point, you're going to run into a spot where your job is on the line if you're not performing to your ability, whether it's no matter how much you're getting paid, eventually you're going to be in a spot where you're not a starter, you're not the closer, you're not whatever you were. If you don't perform well, you're not going to get those opportunities. And we're seeing so much of that from this starting rotation. That is the part that is the most frustrating for me because, as you said, Brooke, we were told in the offseason we had 6 starters, and now 1.5.
Yeah. it's
1
bad.
1/3.
About one, you feel about good about consistency wise?
And that one depends on the day.
Yeah.
Well, I think the one probably is not really happy being here either.
Or he doesn't, probably not.
That's number 47.
Yeah.
Congratulations to one of the best stories in sports this year, St. Louis City SC with a 2-0 win over the Colorado Rapids. Apparently, as our St. Louis City SC fans chanted, Kroenke sucks, Kroenke sucks, the broadcasters thought that it was Rockies suck, having no clue about
Good for them.
the evil. Well,
Good for them not knowing.
Well, congratulations to City SC for beating Colorado 2-0. Still number one in the Western Conference. It's one of the great stories in sports this year. And later on in the show, we're going to talk to one of the amazing stories of the St. Louis City SC and their run to greatness. And hold on, let me just make sure that I get the name right. It's Sam Adirondack. Adirondack. Yeah, he did it again the other night, so we'll have him. And
He's a monster.
Congratulations to friend of the show, Miki Sudo. She won her 9th Nathan's hot dog eating contest yesterday, eating 39.5 hot dogs. We love Miki, so congratulations to her. And Joey Chestnut does it again, his 16th title. And if you want to talk about the GOAT, I mean, you can talk Brady all you want. You can talk LeBron. You can talk Michael. The greatest athlete of all time is Joey Chestnut. 16 championships and absolute dominance throughout those 16 years. I mean, he's not winning by... he's not going Pat Mahomes. He's not saying, yeah, I don't win blowouts. He wins blowouts.
Greatest eater of all time.
Yeah, athlete.
Greatest.
That was a segment the mothership had.
Okay. Oh.
They're talking about how underrated he is as one of the greatest athletes ever.
He dominates.
Carrie, do you have an issue?
I think
Carrie,
eater.
do you have an issue with the word athlete?
And look, I get that there's things that are happening. There's training involved, but I think greatest eater of all time might be more accurate.
You got to have strong jaws or
His nickname
a
is
strong
Jaws.
stomach.
Yeah.
I don't know that necessarily makes you athletic. Athleticism tends to depend on running, jumping, moving
Casting
around.
no aspersions here, then. Better athlete between Jeff Gordon, race car driver, or Joey Chestnut?
Oh, I know that I'm not
There is
doing this.
there
I'm not
is a
doing
level
this.
and
You
I'm
know what
gonna
he's
go-
trying to do.
I see what
He's trying
doing.
to anger the race car fans.
I personally
No,
think
I'm
you
going
should
Jeff
answer
Gordon.
the question, Brooke.
I'm going Jeff Gordon.
I'm going Jeff
24.
Gordon, too.
Okay, you guys can.
I think there's
Jeff
a lot
Gordon.
more involved with that.
Oh, there's quick twitch. Yeah, you have to
And
have
I-
unbelievable. Yeah,
Yes.
you do. There's no
Yeah, all
doubt
the
driving
movement,
at
yeah.
180 miles an hour. There's no doubt about it. Just don't sleep on Joey Chestnut, one of the all-time greats. Yesterday he wins his 16th. He's rocking.
One of the greatest eaters of all time.
Yes.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
are
we're-
off and running here on the opening drive on 101 ESPN. You can watch us on YouTube from here until they fire us. And we are at 101 ESPN STL on the YouTube machine. Coming up next, it is Wednesday, and that means it's Ask Uncle Randy Day. Okay, so you're past the midpoint of the summer. It's past the 4th of July. If you have a question for Ask Uncle Randy, we would love to hear from you. All you need to do is text in 314-399-9646, 314-399 Yo-ho. Ask Uncle Randy next on 101 ESPN.
The MLB plays on ESPN this Saturday. It's Twins and Orioles. Pregame gets underway at 12:30. First pitch at 1:10. Your home for the MLB is 101 ESPN.
Billy's on Broadway, St. Louis's newest sports bar, featuring live music with great food. BillysOnBroadway.com.
What's all this stuff? Human things, thingamabobs, gizmos. What about this?
That's just a dime. Dimes are useless.
Don't be such a crap, mister. That dime can get a new car at Frank Lita Mitsubishi in the automotive outlet in Bridgeton.
It can?
Yes, new and pre-owned, all makes, all models.
It's a crime to pay more than a dime. One dime down at Frank Lita Mitsubishi.
Who told you this, man?
A seagull.
Well, he's right. Every vehicle, one dime down, all pre-owned. Plus the all-new Outlander SUV with 2.9% financing.
One dime down and 2.9%.
Hold on. Your father will never co-sign.
It's okay.
If you've got a job and a dime, you ride, princess.
Hooray!
Plus, you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty.
With only one dime down.
At Frank Lita Mitsubishi in the automotive outlet.
In Bridgeton.
Yes, Lita.com.
YesLita.com. 23 Mirage, 17.5, dime down, $277 a month for 75 months at 5.55% APR. Plus tax, tag title to qualified buyers.
Deep left center field to the track, the wall, and it's a gunner.
Goodwill and the St. Louis Cardinals have once again teamed up to send you to a game with half-price tickets. That's right. All you need to do is donate your clothing or household goods to your local Goodwill. Your donation will get a ticket voucher to redeem for half-price tickets to a game this year. There's a Goodwill in every community. To find a location near you, visit mersgoodwill.org. Give hope, give local, give Goodwill.
This is the sound of Dan's phone. He's chatting with his bank, BOS. Dan just noticed a fraudulent purchase on his account. But Dan isn't worried. He knows BOS goes above and beyond for their customers. You can hear it in his calm typing demeanor. Yeah, he's got this. For banking support,
I've been around, you know. It is time for Ask Uncle Randy on 101 ESPN. Brooke, Carrie, Matthew, and Randy, and we are welcoming your texts right now. 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. If you'd like to join us, we'd love to have you with us here on 101 ESPN. Matthew, what do you got for us?
This one's for Cousin CD. What about Chestnut versus a kicker? Who's the better athlete?
That is a very that's a great question, actually, because I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know.
Kickers don't even practice.
I've had one kicker on my team that was, you know, and this is in college. And if you get a chance, Google him, Steve Weatherford. He's been in Muscle magazines. He is a guy that would kick the ball on kickoff and beat some of the guys down there and go make the tackle. He was extremely athletic. All in all, kickers do not do a lot of athletic things.
No, they can all hit a golf ball.
But I'm still going to take a kicker. I won't disrespect my kickers because they're a vital part of the team. They are a crucial part of the team, and no one really knows them until they don't perform. So as long as you don't know who they are, you're good to go.
That's true, yeah. Good.
All right, we're going to have to get into this again. Okay, so dear Uncle Randy, looking over the Cardinals' total staff, I noticed there are more people in the analytics department than the Cardinals have MLB coaches. Could this be a problem?
Yeah, I would suggest that could be a problem. Now, you are limited as to how many major league coaches you can have. But my thought process is this. The more people that you have that actually played the game at a reasonable level, the better off you are. And analytics people, they didn't have to play the game, but I do think that there's something to be said for understanding the concept of fundamentals and that the players are not robots. That's the biggest issue I have with analytics, is that it seems as if Oli Marmol being a perfect example. He expects certain numbers when he puts a player into a game. Tony La Russa, who, oh, by the way, is in the Hall of Fame and has won the second most games of anybody and has won 3 World Series and been to 6. Tony La Russa would always say they're men, not machines, every single day. And yes, Tony was cutting edge in terms of analytics. He and Dave Duncan had the numbers before the numbers were cool. They had them all, but he wasn't guided by the numbers. He used the numbers as a tool. I get a sense that in this organization, it's guided by the numbers.
And it's hard to know exactly what's going on, but to your point, I have heard in post-game comments where Oli Marmol will talk about specifically some of the stats of that player, why he did certain matchups. And sometimes, too, they've mentioned it, you try to push the right buttons and it doesn't work out. And there's a lot of times it hasn't worked out this season. So then you start to wonder where the feel of the game is. And that's a big part of it, right? Is understanding what guys work for certain situations, what's going on even with them that day, and having that championship culture around, having guys who know what it takes to win and to claw their way back, not just every once in a while, but actually stringing together some wins.
Just look at the Marlins. Look at their coaching staff. And there's a great piece at STL today that we're going to talk about later about the way that Skip Schumacher has put together his staff and the people that he has on his staff, not only with a playing pedigree, but with a major league winning pedigree. It does make a difference.
I think I really enjoy Jim Edmonds on the broadcast because he always drops you little nuggets and gives you insight to what a great player would think. And he talked about it yesterday. The analytics were telling the Cardinals outfielders to almost be on the warning track. And he said if the ball is hit over your head, it's a home run. I don't understand why they're that deep. I would play closer even if they told me to back up because, again, if the ball is hit over my head, it's a home run. What difference does it make? I'll never be able to get to that. So it's going to come a point where despite all of the analytics, the players have to make a decision and say, yeah, that's dumb. That's a dumbass idea. I don't want to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do what's best for me. Similar to what Jordan Walker did when he was in the minors. The hell with your analytics and your launch angle. I'm just going to do what I do. Like it or not, I'm going to play my game, and eventually you all will come around. You need more players with that type of mindset if this team is going to have success.
And look at how it worked out for Jordan Walker, too.
It's pretty good.
I know that there was a little tweaks, supposedly.
Matt Holliday was on the show on Friday, and he said, no, nothing's changed. It's the same swing he's always had.
I don't think anything changed either.
I'm trying to believe what the organization... Are you saying I shouldn't believe what they're saying, Randy?
I'm trying to say
There's been a couple of times, so I guess we could point to this season where that's not the case.
Dear Uncle Randy, do you see a scenario where Goldie or Arenado would request a trade before the deadline?
Arenado has done it before. I would be surprised. I think one of the things that we because we're pretty myopic about the Cardinals, but the Reds lost 100 games last year, and they're in first place right now. The Rangers lost a bunch of games last year. Now, you can turn it around quickly in baseball, and there are myriad ways to do it. The Reds did it with kids. The Rangers did it with older players. The Marlins did it by changing managers. There are a lot of ways to turn things around, and I think the Cardinals, number one, they want to compete. They want people in the stands. They want people in Ballpark Village. I don't think they want to tear down. I think they want to get people into downtown St. Louis. The other part of this is that they made a pretty substantial investment in getting those guys here. I think they want to win with those guys. And I think those guys, obviously Arenado heard the right things last winter. Maybe he's not hearing them right now. But all of a sudden, if Arenado asks for another deal, he kind of starts to look like James Harden.
I mean, when you decide to opt in, you clearly opted in for it with the purpose of winning a championship or being in a position to possibly win a championship. Based off of what they did last year, you would have assumed that this team would be better. It'd be more experienced, more poised to go for a longer, deeper run in the playoffs. This has been terrible. It's been the complete opposite of what you saw last year.
It's been Murphy's Law, too. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. This team should be better. But, man, you're right. It's terrible. It's a disaster.
We should have, though, seen this coming a little bit. Weren't we all a little surprised that the only thing that they did this offseason was get a catcher? Wasn't there some disappointment?
They told us we had 6 starters.
They won 93 games last year.
They told us we had 6 starters.
I'm saying, did you feel 100% comfortable with this starting rotation going into this season?
No, I didn't.
That's what I'm saying.
But there have been a lot of seasons where I didn't feel 100% comfortable. 04, we got Jeff Soup. Oh, come on, Jeff Soup. We got who the hell's Chris Carpenter? Man, he's been hurt for 2 years. Jason Marquis. We get Jason Marquis. Well, he was a Braves 6th starter. Why did we want him? And then all of a sudden they win 105 games. So there have been times. 1985, man, my favorite year. John Tudor starts 1-7. I think this is going to be awful. Then he wins 20 out of 21. Things change in baseball, and sometimes when you have the lowest expectations, your team delivers at the highest level.
Do they have that in them this year?
No.
And what has shown you that they don't have that this year?
Well, that they don't have the ability to be great.
Yes.
Well, I think part of it is managed. They don't let Jordan Montgomery pitch. He's thrown more than 100 pitches twice. Let Jordan Montgomery pitch. Trust your starters. I think that's the biggest thing. and I get the baseball is what it is now. You don't have 7-inning starters, but you have guys that can do it, are capable of doing it, that you don't let do it. If Michaelis and Montgomery are pitching well, let them pitch, because your bullpen, you've gassed your bullpen. And Brooke, you've made a lot of comments during the course of the year about roster construction, and the pitching, the bullpen is a big part of that.
Yes.
Because they don't have the flexibility to bring in a couple of new relievers every day. And that's because they counted on 8 guys in the bullpen, well, 6 guys in the bullpen, but they just can't make changes down there. And so you have a gassed bullpen a lot of days, and you have no chance.
No, and the thing is I know that we talk about, the innings and stuff with the pitchers, and we talked about the trends that we're seeing, especially in Major League Baseball, where your starters are not going as deep into games. But once again, going back to the feel, men, not machines, the feel of the moment and what these guys are capable of, sometimes you do have to just give them that trust, especially, as you mentioned, your bullpen not able to do what it needs to do. The pitching staff in general, that's what I'm talking about. Going into the season, just a giant concern for this team. And it's still a concern. And it's going to be a concern until something with this gets addressed. Because guess what? Zach Thompson, nothing against him, but him coming up definitely isn't going to be the thing that's going to push this team forward.
Yeah.
Dear Uncle Randy, I play defense in the River City Floor Hockey League, and I want to get better in practice with the team, who has gotten better slowly, but it is a rec league, so I don't want to pressure and irritate the team. What do I do?
To get better?
I think he wants to organize some practices so they can get better a little bit faster, but he's afraid that people are going to think it's kind of overbearing to organize a practice for a rec
practice
league.
Should be fun. Practice makes you better. That's why the Rams won the Super Bowl in 1999, because they practiced 3 hours a day. Well, 6 hours a day during training camp.
The key is you play in a rec league, you practice in a beer league.
Yeah. So, get together, practice. Now, some guys may not be ultra competitive, but get the guys you can out there, and every little time on the floor is going to benefit you.
You know what practice does? It weeds out the ones that don't want to be there. I'm all for it.
The weakest links.
Yeah, get them out of here. You don't want it. You don't love it enough. Get away. Make my life easier on game day. I tell you, that's what it does.
Yes, Kerry, that's why we're playing in the rec league, because at some point
it makes my life easier on game day if I can weed out the ones that don't really want to be here.
Did you notice the part where the text where he was like he didn't want to come off like too overbearing?
Do you want to win or not? Do you want to win?
Yeah, see,
that's what it boils down to.
It's all about
if you got a competitive bone in your body, go get it, man. They'll figure it out, or they'll quit. Either way, it works out.
You got one more for us, sir?
Dear Uncle Randy, I just heard the promo for free Nickelback tickets. Shouldn't they all be free?
Well, yes, they should, technically. However, interestingly enough,
I don't know a Nickelback song off the top of my head.
Yes, you do. They just played it. They just played one.
Look
at this photograph.
So glad we have
That's me trying to do.
That's going up on social media, ladies and gentlemen.
2 things about Nickelback. Number one, they're named after a sports term, so they aren't all bad. Here's the other thing. As much, and we will get a million texts. Do you hate Nickelback? Text in. Yeah. Text in 314-399-9646, 314-399. Yo-ho! If you don't like Nickelback, we'll get a million texts.
Nickelback.
But Nickelback sells out every concert. As much as they're hated, they sell out every one.
What's the demo that's going? I need to know the demo.
I've never been to
Is
a
this
Nickelback
like
concert.
50-year-old women? I feel like that might be
I don't know what
their demo.
Yeah, that is a great question. I don't know.
By the way, just in case any are watching the stream or listening, we have nothing wrong with 50-year-old women.
Didn't Jay-Z have a song
I didn't
with
say
Nickelback?
that. I'm just saying, I was literally identifying a demographic.
Nothing wrong with having that demo, bro. Jeez.
That's a beautiful demo. That's right for advertising. That is prime.
There you
That
go.
is prime.
Oh, by the way, hockey defenseman guy, just get your teammates together.
Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it. That's the great thing about sports.
The great thing about sports. Herm told you best.
He did.
Listen to Herm.
Yep. Thank you very much for the texts. We do appreciate it. Ask Uncle Randy, and Uncle Randy loves helping you out. Hey, John Mozeliak said the Cardinals gave opportunities to pitchers that maybe they shouldn't have. Who were those pitchers? That's next on 101 ESPN. Hey, folks, I want to talk to you about your golf game and scoring better. You know, we've got the opening drive invitational coming up later this week, and you got to have a short game to win the opening drive invitational. Tour players get up and down 2/3 of the time, and scratch golfers still only get up and down around half the time. So the best way to lower your score is to improve your short game, and the best way to improve your short game is by getting a celebrity green from Clubhouse Turf here in St. Louis. Just go to clubhouseturf.com. Anyone can put down fake turf and call it a putting green, but if you want a golf green that putts true and gives you real grass performance, then get in touch with Clubhouse Turf at clubhouseturf.com. When you have that green in your backyard, you can practice not only putting, but chips and pitches and bunker shots. The only company to get in touch with is Clubhouse Turf. Each green is unique in design, whether creating a replica hole like the 12th at Augusta or the 2nd at Belle Reve. Clubhouse Turf is going to create your own backyard golf experience that you and your family and friends will enjoy for years to come. Call Clubhouse Turf 314-834-2343, 314-834-2343, or go to clubhouseturf.com.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals yesterday shellacked by the Miami Marlins 15-2. Try to get back in the winning column today with a 5:40 first pitch. Cardinal starter for today is undecided. He will face off against the righty for the Marlins, Brian Hoeing. Hoeing on the season 1-2 with a 3.72 ERA through 38 2/3 innings pitched so far. Also over the weekend, St. Louis City SC continues their start of a new winning streak with a 2-0 win over the Colorado Rapids. They took control with early goals in the 4th and 11th minutes before coasting to that victory. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Well, it is hindsight, but it's still a fair question. And, you know, I do think that some of the decisions we made, some of the guys we were trying to give opportunities to, it just hasn't worked. And so, yeah, it's very fair to say, well, we should have done more or could have done more, and hopefully you learn from that.
Well, hopefully. You've been the GM since 2007. You've been around since 1995. I hope you'll learn from that. That's John Mozeliak on KMOX with our buddy Tom Ackerman on Sunday morning. And I wonder who got opportunities from the Cardinals, who he's referring to when he says that we gave some opportunities to guys that didn't work out. And I don't think that he would count Adam Wainwright in that group. Adam Wainwright last year did have a 7.22 earned run average in September, 2-3 with a 7.22. Before that, he'd been brilliant for the entire season. Actually, Wainwright for the entire season last year was fine. He threw 192 innings and had an earned run average just over 3. So he was fine. I think Flaherty has been okay. I don't think they could have reasonably expected Flaherty to be in a, well, you know what? He did say, Mo said during the offseason that he had 100% confidence in Flaherty bouncing back. So maybe that's one of the persons that got the opportunity that they're second guessing now.
I think I remember him specifically saying that they had high hopes. And it really does seem like when you look back and you see the way that things were constructed, that they did put a lot of their eggs in the basket of Steven Matz being able to be a stable starting pitcher and Jack Flaherty being able to be a consistent and stable starting pitcher. And then maybe even some return at some point of Dakota Hudson.
That's another great point, because during spring training, when Michaelis and Wainwright were at the World Baseball Classic, Dakota Hudson was getting an opportunity and certainly didn't seize it. And we should note that Matz last year was hurt for most of the season, and maybe the Cardinals should have said to themselves, okay, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Yes.
And taken him for what he was, which was an injured pitcher last year.
Yeah, Steven Matz, I'm sure that they thought he would have a better season. He did well in spring training. I thought he did outstanding, and he looked great. And then you get into the season, and it didn't go as well as you would have hoped. Same thing with Adam Wainwright. It's been a couple of games where you're just like, oh, my goodness, this is not great. I'm looking at this Cardinals staff, this starting rotation as a whole. They are 20. There are 30 teams in the Major League Baseball. They are 27th in strikeouts, third to last. They are 25th in earned runs and earned run average, and they are dead last in hits allowed. This is why this is the starting rotation. This is why this team is so bad right now. They are not getting guys out there, getting too many balls being hit into the field, and they are not doing a good enough job of striking people out. They're pitching to contact, all right. There's a lot of contact. It's just not hard contact. It's being hit hard where people are not able to field it, and that's when you're looking at this starting rotation, that's been the issue, and it's been poor starts by Jordan Montgomery to start the year. Miles Michaelis has had some ups and downs. Jack Flaherty has had the same ups and downs. They're getting better now, but when you start off so poorly and then you add Matz and Waino with the way that they've been pitching, it just has not been a recipe for success for this team.
Pitch to contact staff with a lot of contact. You're saying that that's not something that's going to work out?
I'm saying it works out if you hit it at people.
The other part of it is it's supposed to be a ground ball staff.
And that hasn't been.
They have allowed a lot of line drives and a lot of balls that have gotten to outfielders that the outfielders haven't gotten to. And I think at some point Jordan Walker is going to be a good outfielder, but when he only had, less than 50 games last year, you can't expect him to be Jason Hayward right off the bat. So that was one inexperienced outfielder that if you expected him to be great off the bat, it was kind of false hope. And then for whatever reason, Tyler O'Neill said, I want to start in center field. Tyler O'Neill isn't as good a center fielder as Newt Barr or Carlson, but who'd they start in center field on opening day? Tyler O'Neill. You know, what had he done to deserve starting in center field? Then he's not there, like he always isn't. And then you lose Carlson, you lose Newt Barr, and all of a sudden you're playing Alec Burleson in the outfield, and he can't play the outfield really well.
Great pitcher, though.
Yeah, we've seen a lot more of him than Jordan Hicks over the course of the last 6 days. So all of a sudden the ground ball staff turns into a fly ball staff, and your outfield that's supposed to be able to cover a lot of ground can't cover a lot of ground.
No, and that's a recipe for disaster. That's the recipe for what we have seen from the Cardinals this season. And guess what? The answer is going to have to come from outside the organization when it comes to the pitching staff and getting things back in order. And that's a tough position where clearly everybody can see the cards that you have, right? Mm-hmm. All the organizations that you're about to go to and bargain and try to do trades for, even when it comes to the offseason, you have shown all your cards in the situation that you're in right now, which is that you need pitching staff help. You need starting rotation. You need some healthy bullpen arms. You need some help in that area as well. And that's a tough position to be in, but it's the position that you put yourself in because there's also not any help on the way. We were talking about this last night in the group chat. The only player that we've seen pitching staff wise or pitching wise to make his major league debut this year is Zuniga.
Right. And I think what the Cardinals need to look at, and Mo has been through this. In 1995, after the 95 season, the Cardinals went out and they got Todd Stottlemyre, they got Andy Bennis, they revamped their pitching staff, and they added a lot of different position players as well. They got Gaetti, they got Royce Clayton to play short, even though that didn't go over very well. The biggest and most notable was 2000. They rebuilt up the middle completely. They got Matheny, they got Renteria, they got Vigna, they got Edmonds. They go out and get Andy Bennis back. They get Darryl Kyle in a trade. They get Pat Hentgen. They get Dave Veers as their closer. They revamped the team. And even though it's more difficult now, it can be done. And that's what they need to do. They need to go out and get at least 3 starting pitchers. I'm assuming that Jordan Montgomery isn't going to be back. I know that Adam Wainwright isn't going to be back. And I'm assuming that Jack Flaherty isn't going to be back. I'm assuming, I hope I'm right, that Steven Matz isn't going to be a starter. So you're going to have to go out and get some starting pitching for next year. You're going to have to get not only quality, but quantity, and you're going to need to fix the problems that you have defensively, too.
Where is that help coming from? It's not. Is it from your organization? Is it outside of this organization?
It's outside of the organization.
And they're going to have to be willing to pay the price for that, whether it's their prospects or whether it's financial, which in 2000 they did both. And by the way, that was on the heels of McGuire hitting all those home runs and the stadium being full all the time. But they're going to need to evaluate properly and then spend properly to fix this thing in a hurry.
So here's where the problem will come in. They're going to have to make a decision at some point. We know Adam went to the IL. They're going to have to start bringing some people up to evaluate them in real time, which means some of the guys that are here, you, Jack Flaherty, Jordan Montgomery, you're either going to be trading them, which makes sense because they're not under contract for next year. And you're going to have to get some of those young guys up to evaluate them in real time, in real big league games to understand if they are able to be starters going into next year.
And the other part of this, and I don't know from Adam, I don't know Dusty Blake at all, but they have to determine whether or not Dusty Blake is the answer as their pitching coach. Because the pitching has regressed with the departure of Mike Maddox and the ascent of Dusty Blake. Maybe that has something to do with Yachty departing as well. But the fact of the matter is, the guy who tells the catchers what to do, that has the meetings with the pitchers and catchers every day, is the pitching coach. So they're going to have to make a determination there, too.
And it's the perfect storm with this season. When I'm talking about maybe we should have seen this coming a little bit with the Cardinals. Those exits that you just mentioned there with the coaching staff, those are huge losses. And you did think that you were going to have Matt Holliday be your bench coach. That didn't pan out. So this is the coaching staff that you have. And when you have the exit of Yadier Molina and Albert Pujols, I know that Yachty was not here at times last season, but having that influence, we're seeing that relationship that he built with the pitchers for years and how much that paid off for the Cardinals, and having his absence, how much that's affecting this team.
No doubt about it. And Knizner, by the way, has done a great job working, not a great, but a good job of working with the pitchers. And Brooke, I don't know if you can relate. I know Matthew and Carrie and I can. There's probably, well, I won't say, there are very few things more concerning to a male than being in the ER with a groin issue. And Andrew Knizner was sent to the ER yesterday with a groin issue. That is, that just hurt me just saying it.
Yeah. It makes me think about Yachty a few years back, which was one of the most painful things I could ever wish upon a male.
Yeah, ball one.
And two.
That was a bad time. That was a bad time.
It was worse for him, trust me.
Oh, yes.
I remember doing that story. I remember it.
Whenever you hear the word explode, it's just not good. Coming up next, get your text into the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO! We've got Take It or Leave It coming your way on 101 ESPN. Time for Tioli. Get your text into the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399-YOHO. And, of course, you can watch us now on YouTube. Just go to 101 ESPN STL on the old YouTube channel, and you'll be able to watch Brooke, Carrie, Randy, and Matthew. Kids, Dateline Santa Clara, California, soccer game between Mexico and Qatar. And one Mexican fan stabs another Mexican fan, and the Mexican Soccer Federation issues a statement to roundly condemn these acts of violence. Take it or leave it. 1-0 game. You kind of wish they would have said, hey, this is cool. Let's do more of this.
I'm going to have to leave that.
That's action. You want action? You got action.
I don't think you want people being stabbed, shanked in the stands. I don't think that you would hope for that or prefer that.
This time of year, okay, I got a 1-minute story. You guys know Jeff Rainford or know of Jeff Rainford? He used to be the he was the main guy. He was the chief of staff for Mayor Slay. And he used to work at Channel 4 and before that at KMOX. And when I was a young broadcaster, it was this time of year. It was 4th of July. And it was, I believe, the first Fair St. Louis. And Bob Hamilton was the newscaster for KMOX. Legendary. Everybody that ever worked at KMOX and many people that listened to it did a Bob Hamilton imitation. So we've got these ridiculous amounts of people down at the Arch grounds. And Bob Hamilton, during I think it was like the 9 o'clock newscast, comes on and says, we've had a beautiful day in St. Louis. 3 million people have visited the Arch grounds for the first Fair St. Louis, and it has been a glorious day for friends and family. Let's head down to Laclede's Landing for a report. Here's Jeff Rainford. 1 second pause. Bob, there's been a stabbing.
Oh, no.
And then does the report of the stabbing right after this flowery, glorious, it's been a beautiful day in St. Louis.
Wait, that's not great.
Hey, he's breaking the news.
He did. It was fabulous. I love Rainford. I don't know why I remember that, but it was funny.
It's not great.
I knew that somebody was going to text us in. Was Tommy Pham involved?
Oh.
Stop stabbing Tommy Pham.
If anything, that just is more amazing that he's able to come back from that.
I can deal with pain.
I do appreciate that.
We have that. I think we might have Tommy saying he's been stabbed.
So yesterday, obviously, 4th of July. I talked about this earlier when we came in. You know, fireworks are a beautiful thing. Hopefully everyone made it out safely with all their digits and no harm, no injury. There was a house in my neighborhood. The Ring camera caught it. I'm going to find the video where they did set fireworks off and they started shooting towards the house and towards the cars. It looked pretty bad. But that being said, no injuries that I know of. Take it or leave it. If you are still lighting fireworks at 11:30, 11:45 at night, you should be karate kicked in the chest.
I'll take it.
You should get stabbed? Oh, okay.
Not saying
I thought we were going with the stabbing.
But I do think I almost got in my car and drove around the neighborhood.
And just stare at people.
It's 11:45. Stop it.
I got to get up in the morning.
Yeah, I'm going to come knock all of these fireworks over.
I'm gonna have to take that. I feel like I want somebody to text in. What does everybody believe is the correct end time for
11
fireworks?
p.m. is late enough.
I would say 10 almost.
10 really, but if you go to 11,
see, there are fireworks shows that go past 10 that start at like 9:30, 9:30.
There you go.
Oh.
So anytime there's a professional fireworks display, if the last one's over, then they should all be over.
Maybe it's just I just want to be at home in bed, so I just wanted to be wrapped up by that time.
And by the way, to clarify with mine, Mexico lost to Qatar.
Oh,
1-0. So you can understand why somebody got
Is it Qatar or is it Qatar?
I think it's officially Qatar, but
did that
people
change?
say Qatar. Matthew?
Qatar's closer to like the correct pronunciation, but I'm not expecting any American to say it correctly.
I said it.
Yeah.
And it's got a weird,
Not expecting any American
trill to it. It's weird.
Let's see.
All right.
We went through this in the World Cup.
Take it or leave it. I know that some people have a love-hate relationship with our Yoho, but take it or leave it. I'm excited that people can finally see our dance that we do with this. That we've been doing this whole time.
They finally get to be a part of it. Now they can yo-ho in their car as well.
Yeah.
Yes. You have to go to YouTube and check it out to see the dance that we've been literally doing this entire time that we've been saying yo-ho.
Brooks, great idea. You were the one that came up with this thought process. And
yeah.
It just has stuck with us since then.
It's beautiful. We're great dancers.
Okay. Looks like I have been corrected here. Ready?
What do you got?
Here we go.
Jeez.
Qatar.
See?
Cutter.
That's what the Google's saying.
You mean his name's not Cutter?
What do we got on the text line, Matthew? And by that way, that text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399. Yo-ho!
God, they did not. This is. Come on, guys. Get a better batch going. Take it or leave it. If the Cardinals win 2 games or less on the road trip, they make a change in the coaching staff.
Leave it.
It'll be like the Cleninger Turan or something. Who? Change there you go, assistant bullpen coach or something. Who? That's what we'll say. We won't even report on it the next morning.
Take it or leave it. The Cardinals fall to 20 under before they get back to 10 under.
Take it.
I'm going to leave that. I think the furthest... Oh, 20 under. I thought you said, I'm thinking 15 games back under. So
No. Just win loss
15 right now.
Yeah. So you're essentially saying they're going to lose. They're going to go -5 before they go +5.
Yes, I'm going to take that.
Where's all this positivity coming from?
I'm thinking, because I was looking earlier, they were 11 and a half games back, so I thought you meant 20 games back.
The optimism, I think, has started leaving.
Yeah, I don't think
this
they're going to
room.
catch.
It
should have
been
left a
gone.
long time ago. That's my your comment for the day. Take it or leave it. Since the Blues had to use all their draft picks and not change their roster much, they will miss the playoffs again.
Leave it.
I'm going to leave it. I don't think Army's completely done.
You know, I really do think that the coaching changes are going to make a difference. And I really hope that they're able to play more the Craig Berube style and maintain puck possession in the offensive zone. And we need Binnington to have another great year.
I need forwards to play better defense.
Yeah, and that's
everyone.
Part of that is keeping the puck 200 feet away from the opposition.
Yeah, well,
Special
and
teams.
when it's not, get back.
Special
Hustle
teams needs
back.
to improve. Defense needs to improve.
Yeah, there's a lot that needs to improve.
Hopefully Army is correct in what he said this offseason, that it was an off year for the defense. You have a new coaching change that can breathe maybe in some new life, hopefully. But I don't know. I think my big concern is the defense going in, the actual defense.
As CD says, Jordan Kyrou, mix in some defense once in a while.
It's okay. It's okay.
200-foot game. It's not a 100-foot game.
I promise it's okay to play defense. They're not going to be mad at you if you do.
It's okay to play defense? Okay.
You know what, though? Gretzky was a floater, eh? He was scoring 200 points a year, though. 215
scoring player.
Did you see the text that I was laughing at?
Yes.
Take it or leave it. Mobile should start doing 50-cent drinks when the Cardinals lose by 6, so at least we can get some cheap soda.
Oh.
6 is still a serious number.
Take that. Mike over at Mobile on the Run. I know you're listening. Bring that to the powers that be. I love that idea.
They're never mind. They're going to have a lot of drinks they're going to be giving up.
I'm going to make this a take it or leave it. Take it or leave it. Randy is appearing in court later today.
It's the reason for the tie.
I dress this way every day. You guys know this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Totally.
Every day.
Totally.
Take it or leave it. If I try to renew my Cardinal season tickets, my wife will ask for a divorce key.
Oh.
I'm going to take it.
I'll take that too.
I like it.
Yeah.
I liked how they sprinkled in a little blues in there. I love that.
Dvorsky, yep.
There was a great turnout for the prospect camps this weekend, too.
Yeah. They got some prospects.
Take it or leave it. Excluding Goldie, Brendan Donovan is the Cardinals' best trade piece.
I would have to say yes.
Really?
Well,
I'm going to leave that.
Right now, the Dodgers are looking for middle infielders. Thairo Estrada just went on the IL with the Giants. And they're looking for a middle infielder. By the way, they are they're set to take off, and they need some help. The Giants do, and I would think that they would pay. They might even pay a premium for a guy like DeYoung to play second base for them.
That's what I think Paul DeYoung, because of he is Hannes Wagner, and he's done a great job since returning.
Who wouldn't want the reincarnation?
Who would not? Who would not?
Yeah.
You got to want that, right?
Yep. Listen to this. The Giants are good right now. Let me get where they are in the standings. Hold on here. This is live radio. The Giants have a record of, they're only 46-40, but they are in the wild card as we speak. They would be right now, actually, they're tied for the third wild card. But after they finish with the Mariners, here's what the Giants have on the horizon. 3 against the Rockies, 3 at Pittsburgh, Then they go to Cincinnati for 4. Then they're at Washington for 3. They get Detroit. They get Oakland. They get the Red Sox. Then they have to play Arizona. The rest of this month is an absolute cakewalk for the Giants. So if they go out and get a middle infielder, they will have a real good setup heading into August for the rest of the season. By the way, then they play those 4 against Arizona. Then they get the A's and the Angels minus Trout and maybe Ohtani. They've got a really easy schedule for well over a month here. So pretty good.
Take it or leave it. Cardinals should extend Monty.
Well, I'll take it, but they aren't going to because Scott Boras has him.
Oh, he's not coming back.
And you know what? I wonder if, in his heart of heart, if you ask Jordan Montgomery, do you think the Cardinals trust you? I think he would say no, because as I think I mentioned this earlier, he's only been allowed by them to throw more than 100 pitches twice in a game. They take him out, and he winds up leaving with the lead, and inevitably the bullpen blows it. So if I were him, I would want to go to a non-analytics place where they actually let me pitch.
I guess the question would be, do you trust the Cardinals? If that's the case.
No, you can't. And Boras isn't going to.
Yeah.
You know, because Montgomery, there are plenty of places now, including maybe the best team in baseball, Atlanta, where you can go, and if you're a starting pitcher, especially a veteran starting pitcher, they will let you pitch. But they're letting their pitchers pitch in Texas. They're letting their pitchers pitch in Atlanta. They're letting their pitchers pitch in Miami.
And those teams have been doing pretty well, right?
Yeah. So I would think that I know that the Dodgers would let him pitch. Mm-hmm. So San Francisco would let him pitch, even though maybe Farhan Zaidi and Gabe Kapler were previously the ultimate analytics guys. They've gotten away from it, and they're actually doing things that win baseball games now. So
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's the craziest thing, Randy.
But if I'm Jordan Montgomery, I want to go to somewhere where I feel trusted to perform my craft. And how many times has he been taken out of a game when he's been pitching great, and he allows a base hit or there's an error in a single, and then they don't let him pitch anymore?
Maybe most of his frustration that we see on the mound, 1, because he's a gamer, wants to stay in, given that opportunity, and 2, he knows what's coming.
Yeah.
So he's pissed.
Yep. But this
you
month,
can see the writing on the wall.
Yeah. Last month, the month of June, he was sensational, and he was not allowed to throw 100 pitches in a game, in a single game. 75, 97, 98, 94, 91, and that was a sensational month for him. So
has anybody pitched over 100? Waino maybe, or no? I'm trying to think who has.
He hasn't.
Jack has.
I think Flaherty got over 100. But, yeah, if you look at their
But it wasn't a lot.
No, not at all. That is Take It or Leave It. Thank you very much for the text. We do appreciate them. Coming up, for the 3rd time in his short career, Oli Marmol is having to manage an aging superstar. Is that the hardest thing for a coach or manager in sports? That's next on 101 ESPN. Hey, if you are looking for an outdoor project for your home and you want it done right, get in touch with my friends at Chesterfield Fence and Deck. They've been in business for 55 years here in St. Louis, and they do amazing work. They did my fence many years ago, told me I would have a lifetime product, and I do. I have a beautiful white vinyl privacy fence in my backyard that I absolutely love, and I know it's going to be a lifetime product because Chesterfield Fence and Deck did it. If you're looking for a vinyl or cedar fence, maybe a vinyl or cedar deck, maybe you want to to get a sunroom or a screen room installed, then what you need to do is get in touch with Chesterfield Fence and Deck at 800-300-4054 or find them on the web at chesterfieldfence.com. And at Chesterfield Fence and Deck, they're going to come out, provide a free, no-obligation project design, and show you some ideas of things that you might not have thought of that you will really enjoy. Putting a ceiling fan in your sunroom or screen room, maybe a place to put up a big TV. It really is a great place. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. You'll love Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Again, 800-300-4054 or at chesterfieldfence.com. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best.
I mean, Waino's been pinching through pain for years.
I guess that's the line. I mean, we ask him and he says, I'm okay, I'm ready to go.
He's always going to tell you he's okay.
Okay, so what do we believe then?
What are you asking?
I'm asking, like, he's obviously struggled. Yeah. You say he always pitches through pain. He's had 3 starts here where he has not been the pitcher that you expect, that he expects.
There's been times he's pitched pretty good with more pain than he's had at the moment. Okay. And it's just part of Waino being Waino and where he's at in his career. But the reality is he feels like getting another look at it is going to be important. That's exactly what we're going to do.
That's the Cardinal skipper, Oli Marmol, with Derek Gould of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch and STL Today yesterday in Miami. And, Kerry, you were one of those guys. You played through pain. And it is hard, especially when it's a veteran guy with as much cachet as Adam Wainwright has. Mm-hmm. If he comes to the manager and says, I'm good to go, then the manager says, okay. Doesn't matter how you're performing. When you're a veteran player, you have earned the right. You've earned the benefit of the doubt to go out and pitch. Now, did it work for the manager? No, because Adam clearly had some shoulder issues. He thought he was good enough, but he wasn't good enough. And the bigger picture here is that more times than not, it is really difficult for a manager of any ilk to deal with an aging or retiring superstar. We saw it with Ozzie Smith here and Tony La Russa. Tony promised Ozzie that he would have a competition for the shortstop job when they got Royce Clayton. Ozzie clearly outplayed Royce Clayton in the spring of 1996, yet Clayton got the lion's share of the playing time. And those two never were able to repair their relationship. Jeff Van Gundy said it. Bill Walsh said it about Joe Montana, that the hardest thing to coach is an aging superstar. And that's something that Oli Marmol is having to deal with this year. Now, doesn't matter in the big picture, no, because the Cardinals aren't going anywhere. But it is something that has to be difficult for any manager.
Yeah, and I think he's done a great job. I think he did a great job last year with Albert, who mentioned that prior to the All-Star break, he was ready to retire, call it quits, because he hadn't performed to the ability that he's accustomed to. He had a great second half. You know, you saw Yachty not here for a large portion of the season last year, and they were able to get him back in the fold. And what Adam is dealing with right now, it's something that every professional athlete goes through. At some point, Father Time catches up to you. Your body starts to break down. Your body is mentally. Being a professional athlete is, I always say this is a gift and a curse, because the gift is you can will yourself to do anything. You feel like I can get it done despite all of the things that are going on around me. The curse is your body is going to tell you no, but your brain is saying yes. And so I think that's where Adam is right now. And I will say this to Oli's credit, one thing that I loved, absolutely loved, that start against Houston a couple of weeks ago, or last week, what he did for Adam in the dugout after the poor outing, you know, just spending a few minutes with him, patting him on his knee, telling him, hey, you know, you could tell he was giving them words of encouragement, uplifting him. This is a guy that has been playing baseball for a long time, but even him needs that in that moment because he's struggling. And I think Oli is still doing that. He's defending his guy. And when we talk about coaches, the thing that the best coaches I had were the coaches that were honest and open. I didn't care about X's and O's. Tell me the truth. Give me the honest, hard truth. Despite anything that I may feel, give me the truth, and those are the guys that you respect most, and those are the guys that you appreciate most. And I think that's what Oli has done a great job of that with this staff. And he's not going to tell the media anything in terms of what he's talking about to his guy. He's going to protect him, and I think he's done a great job of doing that with Adam Wainwright right now.
And nobody wants to see Adam Wainwright go out like this. Nobody does. And I think that you do give him, and that's what they've been doing, like you're talking about with Oli Marmol. They have been giving him the benefit of the doubt because he has proven that he's been able to come back from things. But the issue is that this team needs wins. They need it badly, and that's not just an Adam Wainwright issue. They need some way to push back and a sense of urgency. I guess that's what we've been asking for so much this season. But Wainwright has allowed 6 more runs in each of his last 3 starts and pitched less than 4 innings in each game. That's not good.
No.
That's not good to trot out there every 5 days. And that's not going to help this team win. It's not going to help build back morale. Also, in those 3 games, he's allowed 24 hits, 17 earned runs. That's like a guaranteed loss.
Well, and it was so un-Adam for him to come on a couple of weeks ago and say, I'm ready for this to be done. You know, that is just not what I thought. Adam, I know what he's saying, that he is ready. He doesn't need this anymore. When he came back this year, I think he needed it, and now he knows that this is the time to retire. And I wonder, now looking back, if he had these shoulder issues then and was kind of telling us reading between the lines that there was something there.
And it is about mindset. He has talked about recently that his mindset, he's been working on getting it back on track. We talked about the social media, him going off social media and back on social media. But I think to your point, Carrie, sometimes the body just eventually catches up with you, where even that will is there. And there's no doubt that will is there from Adam Wainwright. But sometimes other things catch up to you physically. The
body is not able to do what the mind thinks it can do. And you know, I still think I can go up and touch the rim and dunk if I wanted to. My body is like, going up is not a problem, Randy. Coming down hurts. Like my knees hurt, so I don't do it. Your mind tells you can do things, but your body is telling you no, it's over. Those days are long gone, and now we're seeing Adam Wainwright, who I hope he does get healthy and is able to come back and perform and at least go out, if not have a Albert Pujols second half of the season type of run, at least go out on his own terms where he finishes a game, gets a win. Obviously, we would love to see him get to the 200 wins, but just go out and finish on his own terms. These last 3 starts have not been great. It's not great for him, for his morale. It's not great for his how he wants to end his career and how he wants his legacy to be remembered.
And for anybody who's excited or dancing around, because there are some people who I feel like have been waiting maybe for this moment for Adam Wainwright. There's a difference between understanding this has not been going well and looking at that, and it is what it is, but you still celebrate what he's done for this organization. But I feel like there's some people coming out of the woodwork that are just excited about this, seeing Waino fail, and that's not okay. That's not being a true fan of the Cardinals. if you feel that way. But I wanted to ask this one question because I wasn't, of course, around for this. But what happened with Red and Bob Gibson? Not saying that Waino is Bob Gibson, but just as we're talking about aging superstars, what happened with Red and Gibby towards the end?
Bob Gibson was convinced to the day he died that he was still the Cardinals' best starting pitcher. In 1975 when he got put in the bullpen. And he wasn't, even though, and the team wasn't that good, they didn't have very good starting pitching. But he never accepted that he wasn't the pitcher that he had been 10 years earlier. He never did that. Heck, so he retires in 1975. 1989, Terry Poole of the Houston Astros retired the year before. And Poole hits, in an old-timers game at the Astrodome, hits a home run off of Gibson. Gibson, at the age of, 39, 49, he must have been 58, hits Terry Poole in the ribs with an 88-mile-an-hour fastball the next time he comes up in an old-timers game. So Gibby never, that's just how competitive he was. He would never do it. Well, Chris Carpenter has never used the word retire. He had his press conference when he wasn't going to pitch anymore. He said, I'm not going to use the word. And he wouldn't even say it. And he never has. He's never used the word retire.
It's a gift and a curse.
Yeah.
It is truly, and the greater player that you are or were, the harder it is to get it in your mind that you are unable to reach that level anymore. It's something that you work so hard to become this good at something or this great at something. It's hard for something else or someone else to tell you you no longer are at that level.
Yep. At the end of his career, Whitey Ford, the Yankees, said, I'm throwing as hard as I ever did. The ball isn't getting there quite as quick. So, and that's where Waino is right now. That is today's Fresh Take on 101 ESPN. Coming up on the heels of a 15-2 loss in which Alec Burleson pitched again, we've got bird droppings coming your way here on the opening drive on 101 ESPN. All right, the man with the deep voice said bird watch. But it's actually bird droppings today because the Cardinals lost 15-2. So there we go, bird droppings.
That's a
but
lot.
guys, I'm actually I'm not going to go bird droppings. I'm going
Sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. Everything that's wonderful is what I feel when we're together.
Okay, here's the thing. I know I see a lot of people on the socials, on the Twitter machine, and on the on our text machine, and on the Facebook. Where what's more negative, Facebook or Twitter?
That's a close one.
That is a very good question.
I think I'm going to go with the Twitter machine.
I don't know. Both of them can kind of go haywire.
Do you all ever just get into comments and read the negativity? Like every now and then, like when people are arguing and they don't even know each other, it's maddening.
That's exactly what it looks like. It looks maddening, so I try to stay away from that.
It is. It's a bit maddening.
Here's the thing. Last year, the Cincinnati Reds lost 100 games. Now they're 47-39. Last year, the Arizona Diamondbacks were a fourth-place team. Now they've got 50 wins. 50 wins for the Diamondbacks. They're 50-36, and they're going to make the playoffs. And you've got the Texas Rangers. Over the course of 2 years, they have ascended. Cardinals have done it. They did it between 1980 and 1982 when they won the World Championship. As a matter of fact, 1980, they fire their manager. 1981, they have the best record in their division in a strike-shortened season. Just because you're having a bad year doesn't mean that you are doomed to being bad for a long time. Hopefully, the Cardinals are learning. Hopefully, John Mozeliak does remember what they did in 1996 and in 2000 and got better. And actually, in 2010 as well, when they got Matt Holliday during the 2009 season. This season is over. Everything from now until the trade deadline should be geared towards building for 2024 and fixing this, because there are good players on this team. Arenado's a good player. Goldschmidt's a good player. I don't know about Contreras, but I think I would look at Herrera being my catcher and getting Contreras, whether it's DH or getting him in the outfield. But here's my thing. If I'm the Cardinals, I'm going to do some creative things to prepare for 2024. If that means Jordan Walker moving to right every single day so that Contreras can play left, if that means getting Nolan Gorman some time in the outfield so that Contreras can be the DH, I'm going to do creative things to prepare for 2024. This season is no longer about 2023. It's all about next year.
I'm noticing something with what you're saying. Are you saying that Contreras isn't going to be the catcher?
He can't be the catcher for two reasons. Number one, of what they've lost. They lost faith in him 30 games. They haven't gained faith back in Wilson Contreras. And the other part of it is they've got a better guy right now at AAA. Ivan Herrera right now is a better catcher than Wilson Contreras. And he's got a 1,000 OPS down there. Herrera has to be your catcher going forward. Now, can Contreras play 62 games for you next year? Sure. Fine. Maybe Knizner's not here. But you cannot have that guy catching every day, especially if you have a new pitching staff. You need, and by the way, I'm not saying this, but I'll say it. You probably need a new pitching coach. So gear yourself towards 2024.
I guess my question would be, you heard the cut from Mo earlier talking about, guys got to, maybe we could have done better. Maybe we could have done more. I'm looking at this starting rotation, and Jordan Montgomery 6-7 with 3.28 ERA. Miles Michaelis 4-5, 4.5 ERA. Jack Flaherty 5-5, 4.6. Liberatore 1-3, 5.2. Jake Woodford, 1-2, 5.72. Steven Matz 0-6, 5.72. Adam Wainwright 3-4, 7.66. If you lower those numbers in terms of the ERA and add a few wins on that record for each player, this team is in a much better place. So is it that they didn't do a good enough job? Yes, I think they could have done more. But also, I will always point to the people on the field. The ERA of this starting rotation has been horrendous. The play from the starting rotation has been horrendous. That is on the players. If you are a general manager, if you are a president of baseball operations, if you are the manager, you don't throw guys out there with the expectation of them performing as poorly as they have. And yeah, we can say hindsight, oh, they should have went and got someone because we knew that this was going to happen. This wasn't anything we thought was going to happen going into the season. This has been terrible.
Well, and that's what I've been saying, roster construction. And that's so many different facets of this game that we're seeing just fall apart. All these weaknesses are being exposed from the Cardinals when you're talking about pitching staff, you're talking about the bullpen. And that leads into what I'm going to talk about, too, just real quick to add to it with my bird dropping. My bird dropping is...
There it is.
17 blown saves. This season. No, we're not clapping for this, CD. We're not clapping for this.
I thought that was a good thing.
No. Sadly not. 17 blown saves this season for the Cardinals. Their 17 loss in their 25 one-run games. And those two things are correlated.
Yes.
One-run games, blown saves. It's starting to make a lot of sense here. And you have, let's see, Palante Monday with his 4th blown save. Giovanni Gallegos with 4. Helsley with 4. And if you look at some of the other pitchers who are at the top, and you'll see those 3 names with blown saves this season.
You just cannot have that. You need to have better middle relief. And obviously Gallegos has struggled in terms of holding leads. It's untenable. You can't win, especially with as competitive as it is and how many other teams are in the playoff hunt because of the expanded playoffs. You can't win by playing sloppy baseball, and part of sloppy baseball is having a brutal bullpen with 17 blown saves.
You think maybe we can just get you think Jordan Hicks can go 7, 8, 9?
At least 8 and 9.
Just give him 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
Go all the way old school. I'm sure there were some pitchers that pitched the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning at some point in history. Don't shake your head, Rock. Do not shake your head.
You weren't throwing 104 miles per hour
Just do it.
with backdoor action.
Hey,
His arms
so
gonna fall
phone's
off.
98. What?
And I know that there's people that disagree with me on this. And I first of all, I don't think there's any chance of it happening. But if I were the Cardinals, I want a nut job like Max Scherzer in my locker room.
Somebody crazy.
Someone that's going to keep everybody on their toes and scare them.
Yeah. And I don't think that he would give up his no-trade clause. He's got no reason to come here, and the team is worse than the Mets. I don't know why the Mets would do it, and I don't know why he would do it. But I do think that there is a spot in the Cardinal clubhouse for a nut job and a leader and somebody who will shake things up when the team is not winning. So I think the Cardinals next year, they need 4 starting pitchers, okay? Oh. And you have a lot of depth, and maybe Graceffo or McGreevy make their way to the majors. Maybe you have a back-end guy where your 5th starter is a young guy. Montgomery's not going to be here. Flaherty's not going to be here. Waino's not going to be here. Matz can't be in your starting rotation. Miles Michaelis is your only current starter that you have next year.
Liberatore?
He's just not.
It hasn't panned out.
No,
it's just I think that's
happening.
one of the people that that Mozeliak was referencing, that it hasn't worked out.
Yeah. But what you have to do is get somebody who's capable of resurrecting pitchers. Mm-hmm. We've seen that happen with the Cubs before in the middle of the last decade. And get somebody who can maximize new talent. Go out. Like if you still want to pitch to contact and you want to have a good defense, go get Kyle Hendricks, right? Go. He's going to be a mid-price. You got to get a number 1, right? I don't know who the number 1 is.
That would be my question. Yeah. Who is the number 1?
And you're probably going to have to overpay for that guy.
You have to.
Yeah, and whether it's in prospects or in money, you're going to have to overpay to get that guy. So whoever Mr. X is, and then when you look around at the people that are going to be available, and Greg Amsinger, I think, mentioned this last Thursday or Friday when he was on with us, there is depth out there. Sonny Gray, who's had a good year, and he's a number 4 guy. He's not a guy that you have at the top. Blake Snell.
But nobody was expecting him to have a good year.
No.
Sonny Gray was a surprise.
Right. And he's not a guy that is probably going to be effective for you in the 6th month of the season, especially here in St. Louis. He weighs like 165 pounds. But he's just not. The 6th month is a different animal. But I think there are some pitchers out there. Tyler Mahle is going to be a free agent. He's had a history of being good. Now, you have to have somebody that is Dave Duncan-esque, who's capable of resurrecting these guys. But I believe that the Cardinals can turn things around relatively quickly if they play their cards right. But that's the key. You got to play your cards right, and it's been several years since they have.
I get envious now watching some of the other teams that the Cardinals play against of like, I want that pitcher.
Yeah.
Like watching Luzardo, I'm like, I want that. I want that.
Yep. And the Marlins gave up Starling Marte when they sold, and they got Luzardo. A lot of their team is a product of selling off and a lot of misery. But then you get the right manager in place, you get the right staff in place, and then you nurture those young players, and all of a sudden you're 14 games over 500 or whatever they are.
It's just very disappointing if you just say, especially if you go with your formula of that Contreras isn't going to be the catcher. So that's how much money that you essentially signed.
$87.5 million, Brooke.
Okay, so that's not working out. And Steven Matz, how much did you pay him?
44?
44 over 4, 11
to
million.
Be in the bullpen and not in your starting rotation.
You had the stat. The Cardinals pitching staff payroll is third highest in Major League Baseball, starting rotation payroll. And they're and right now, as we speak, Cardinals have the 13th best earned, or how about third worst earned run?
Yeah, nothing's
average.
best about this.
No, in the National League, Colorado, you'd expect, would have the worst starting pitcher's ERA. Yeah. Surprisingly, the Cincinnati Reds are 14th, and then the Cardinals are 13th, just ahead of the Mets. Yeah, and Atlanta, number 1. Padres have a lot of good pitchers, number 2. Cubs, number 3 in earned run average in the National League among starting pitchers. And there are the Marlins at number 4 with just a new look staff, and things are fresh and fun for them.
Good for them.
We need to make it fresh and fun. Coming up, we need a fighter. All you need to do is text in to our Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. If you would like to join us on the fight, text the word fight with your name into that text line, and perhaps you can fight with us next. And we hope that you're watching us. If you aren't, well, when you get to work or maybe you're at home, go to YouTube and go to channel 101 ESPN STL, and you can see us in the opening drive on 101 ESPN.
This is Rock here with your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Cardinals over the weekend getting shellacked by the Miami Marlins 15-2 yesterday. They will try to get back in the win column with game tonight. Cardinals starter for tonight's game still undecided. Also over the weekend, St. Louis City SC going a little bit of a different way. The St. Louis Cardinals, they get a win against the Colorado Rapids 2-0. They take control with early goals in the 4th and 11 minutes and never looked back. That is your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Welcome back to the opening drive. I'm Kerry Davis, joined by Brooke Grimsley, and it is time for the fight. And our fighter today is Trenton. Trenton, how you doing?
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Doing wonderful. Are you ready to take on Randy Carricker?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. July 4th, 2008, Albert Pujols hit his 300th career home run against which NL Central team? The Milwaukee Brewers, the Houston Astros, or the Chicago Cubs?
Milwaukee Brewers.
Happy belated birthday, because his birthday was yesterday, to the secret weapon Jose Oquendo. Oquendo fielded over 7,000 innings in a Cardinals uniform. Which position did he play the most? Shortstop, outfield, or second base?
Second base.
Who is the only player to play in a Super Bowl and an NCAA Final Four in his career? Is it Julius Peppers, Tony Gonzalez, or Jimmy Graham? That's so bad one.
Huh?
I'm going to go with Peppers.
I wanted to say Jabril Peppers so bad. I just keep saying it in my head.
All right. Number 4, the Braves just set the record for the most home runs by a team in the first 84 games of the season with 161. Who currently leads them with 28? Is it Ronald Acuna Jr., Michael Harris II, or Matt Olson?
Ronald Acuna Jr.
All right, we'll double-check our score, and we will bring in Randy Carricker.
Trenton, how you feeling?
Not good.
Not good?
Not good? Not great, huh?
No, I felt confident on one.
Was there any sport in particular you were looking for today?
Baseball's not bad, but I'm just not that good at it.
Hey, you got to believe in yourself. We believe in you.
It's okay. Randy's back in. He doesn't have any drink today. I don't think he wanted to spill anything on his.
I just put my Propel bottle in the recycling.
You wanted to spill it on your wonderful shirt and tie.
It's only water.
Okay. All right. Well, Randy, say hello to Trenton.
Trenton, good morning. How you doing?
Hey, not bad, Randy. How's it going?
I'm doing well. Thanks for listening. Thanks for playing. We appreciate it.
All right, Randy, here we go.
Okay.
July 4th, 2008, Albert Pujols hit his 300th career home run against which NL Central team?
July 4th, 2008. Against the NL Central. I'm going to go with, he seemed to have some pretty good days at Wrigley. I'll say it was the Cubs.
Happy belated birthday, because his birthday was yesterday, to the secret weapon Jose Oquendo. Oquendo fielded over 7,000 innings in a Cardinals uniform. Which position did he play the most?
I think second base.
Who is the only player to play in a Super Bowl and an NCAA Final Four in the same career?
Super Bowl and Final Four in the same career. Well, Antonio Gates missed out on both, didn't he?
Oh.
Super Bowl and a Final Four. So last year was the first year Miami was ever in the Final Four, so not Jimmy Graham. Super Bowl and Final Four. I'll do the lifeline here, Matt. CD.
Julius Peppers, Tony Gonzalez, Jimmy Graham.
Okay, it wasn't Jimmy Graham. I think that Cal team. I don't think Julius Peppers was. Maybe he was on that Carolina basketball team. I don't think he played though. I'm going to go with Tony Gonzalez. I think that Cal team that he was on. and then he would have played. Well, let's make sure he got in the Super Bowl. I don't think. He would have gotten into that Super Bowl against the 28-3 game. So so I'll go with that.
Final
I will
answer?
go with Tony Gonzalez.
Oh,
yes.
okay. I'm going to be honest. Sometimes I zone out because it takes a minute. We need to get a pitch clock on you, huh?
Oh no! Don't get ready.
I'm fine with pitch clock as long as we both get the same rules. What are you doing?
Instigating. Anyways, the Braves just set the record for the most home runs by a team in the first 84 games of the season with 161. Who currently leads them with 28?
28 home runs for the Atlanta Braves. Well, Acuna just got to. He's closing in on being a 30-30 guy and a 40, maybe a 50-50 guy. I will go with the red-hot Ronald Acuna Jr.
I am very surprised to say that we have a tie in this fight today, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll go to our tiebreaker. The rules are very simple. I will read the question. We'll give Randy a beat to write down his answer. We will then pass it along to Trenton, who will then say his answer audibly. Randy will then say what his answer was that he wrote down so we all can confirm. And then whoever is closest to the pin is going to be the winner of today's fight. Trenton, do you understand those rules?
Yes, sir, I do.
Randy, do you understand the rules?
I understand.
Do you have a piece of paper?
I do.
All right, perfect.
You got to show everybody on the camera.
Yeah, Edward Jones dome paper.
Yep. Which they left after the 2015 season. It's getting old. You realize that we have been without the Rams longer than we were without the NFL when the Cardinals left?
Wow.
Time's flown.
Wow.
Time does fly. The older you get, it's kind of strange.
In his 2 years at UNC, when she did play in a Final Four, Julius Peppard played in 56 games. What was his points per game average? And I want a full number and then one decimal point. I mean, that's all I'm going to. So, what was Julius Peppard's career scoring average at UNC in 56 games?
We're just going with only a number, like we aren't going with 17.4. It'd be 17.
We'll go just full numbers.
Okay.
Just full numbers.
So
we'll go just full numbers. No, we'll eliminate any decimal point.
Okay.
We'll go just full numbers. Just full numbers.
Whole numbers.
Whole numbers? Whole numbers. That's a better thing. Just whole numbers. What was Julius Peppard's scoring record in his 56 games at UNC? Randy Carricker, we have your guess. Trenton, what is your guess, sir?
I'm going to go with 11.
I got to do a quick little thing of math here, but not that quickly. We have a winner in today's fight. Randy, quick question. His was 11. What was your guess?
I said 4.
You said 4. Did he say 4, Carrie? Mm-hmm. He said 4. All right. Then we have a winner in today's fight. Ring that bell.
The winner and still champion of the fight, Randy Carricker.
The fight is presented by Golf Discount of St. Louis, with the most experienced club fitters in town. Why shop anywhere else?
Just win, baby.
We're on to Cincinnati.
And Randy Carricker, you got it just a little bit closer. Julius Peppers averaged 5.7 points per game in his UNC career. Randy Carricker gets 4.0. He was just a little bit closer. So I'm sorry, Trenton. Randy Carricker wins today's fight. But hey, taking him to a tiebreaker is always difficult. Let's go through those answers. July 4th, 2008, Albert Pujols hits his 300th career home run against the Chicago Cubs. He did have a lot of good games in Wrigley. Happy birthday to the secret weapon. Yesterday was his birthday. For Jose Oquendo, he fielded over 7,000 innings in a Cardinals uniform. Which position did he play the most? He played over 4,000 innings at second base. He played only shortstop in his 2 years for the New York Mets. Who's the only player to play in a Super Bowl and an NCAA Final Four in the same career? It is, in fact, Julius Peppers. And the Braves just set the record for the most home runs by a team in the first 84 games of the season with 161. Matt Olson has hit 28 home runs for the Atlanta Braves so far this year. So 2-2 tie took us to the trivia question, which was, with a whole number, what was Julius Peppers' scoring career average at UNC? It was 5.7, so Randy's 4.0 was the closest guess. So a winner for today in the fight is Randy Carricker. Trenton, thank you so much for joining the fight and joining the show today.
Hey, thank you, guys.
Thanks, Trenton.
Trenton with us on 101 ESPN.
I like, and somebody already sent into the chat on YouTube, which you can do if you're subscribed to 101 ESPN, you can start to be a part of the chat. Somebody said, I like that I can see the transparency now with the fight, because some people had some questions why they would question Megamind. I'm not exactly sure, but now they get to see your brain in action and how there's nothing to help you.
There is not.
Yeah, but I gotta work out. Did Carrie see when me and did people see when me and Carrie threw up the score?
That's why I put mine to the
listener.
side.
Okay, I was worried. I was trying to put mine really forward.
I put mine to the side.
Okay, that way no one can see us.
I didn't put it up here because you can see it here, right?
Yeah.
You can't see it there, yes. So
but you can't see it
put
here.
the side there. And then I guess Randy can start just putting up his tiebreaker answers
That's
just
what
to
he
the
did.
camera.
Yeah, that's what he did.
He said
Okay.
that if the person is watching, though.
Yeah, if they're watching, obviously it's like everybody.
Well, this is on a delay, so you should be fine.
Okay, good. By the way, we're talking about watching us. You can watch us on YouTube at 101 ESPN STL. That's our YouTube channel, and we'd love to have you participate with us via that. Coming up next, Sam Adeniran, the amazing Sam Adeniran of St. Louis City SC, joins us next on the heels of their 2-0 victory on the pitch in their kits over Colorado. Sam Adeniran is next on 101 ESPN.
Baum sends the ball in. Adeniran gets his first MLS goal. Recalled from his loan with a USL club, straight into the starting lineup, straight onto the score sheet, and St. Louis City put in a heroic performance here for St. Louis City. Here's Adeniran. Daniel the wrong way. In his first MLS start, Samuel Adeniran's got his first 2 MLS goals.
The Colorado end steps through for a takeaway, bumps into the end line, kept alive by Adeniran. Pass back to Stroud, a quick shot, he scores!
The opening drive on 101 ESPN. Brooke Grimsley, Kerry Davis, Randy Carricker, and you heard the goals against San Jose on June 24th from Sam Adeniran of St. Louis City SC. They win again over Colorado on Saturday. Another great game for Sam Adeniran, who joins us now on the Celebrity Line on 101 ESPN. Sam, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. How you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Everything's fantastic here in the studio. Well, first of all, what's this first week been like for you? From the time you came up on the 24th against San Jose to now, what's it been like for you?
It's been great. It's been crazy. But I mean, I've enjoyed every minute of it. It's finally great to be back in the city. Be back around my teammates and be back with the fans. It's amazing.
Sam, that's what I was going to ask you about. What was your first home game experience like, and did it meet or even surpass your expectations?
It's from being on the bench in the beginning of the season, and just seeing what the fans were like when I was here at the beginning. I mean, it's the exact same. The fans are amazing. The fans get so loud, and it's like the stadium is shaking. And, it's an even greater feeling when you're on the field and, and they're screaming your name and they're chanting for you. So, I mean, yeah, it felt amazing.
Now, Sam, I am a high school football coach, and I noticed that you are a 6'5" soccer player, and you're from Houston, grew up in Houston. I got to know how many high school football coaches approached you about coming to play football for them?
All of them. All of them did. Yeah, all of them. All of them did. They approached me. They approached my dad. They approached my mom. So yeah, my dad never really let me play football, but yeah, it was definitely. I got a lot of that in for basketball as well.
Now, if you were to play football, what position do you think you would excel in?
Man, I can see myself being either a corner or a wide receiver. Either of those two.
Sam, let me tell you something. I know soccer pays well, but 6'5" corners in the NFL? Yeah, buddy.
Yep.
Sam Adeniran of St. Louis City SC. Hey, can you take us through that time on the 24th before you played San Jose? When did you find out that you were coming to San Jose for the game? And then take us through that day when you scored the 2 goals.
I found out on, I believe, Thursday after practice in San Antonio. I got a call from my agent and then eventually a call from Lutz and Bradley. They told me that they wanted me to come back. So, I mean, it was a pretty short phone call. But I gave him my answer pretty quick. And then, and then Friday morning, I believe I had to take a Uber down to Austin Airport because there's no direct flights from San Antonio to San Jose. And then I flew directly from Austin to San Jose, and I arrived around like 3 or 4 p.m. And then, I met with the guys around like 5 or 6. And then, the next day, we did everything that we needed to do, got to the facility, or got to the San Jose Stadium. And then, it was amazing, amazing stadium that San Jose has. And, it was a blessing, to be able to score my first 2 goals, especially for this club. It was an amazing feeling. I thank my Heavenly Father for just blessing me and, putting me in the position to be able to do that. And I thank the staff as well.
Sam, as we're starting to learn more about you and the fans as well, we heard in the post game that you have your own clothing brand, right? Tell us more about that.
So, it's called Vaps Dynasty. And we make custom Nigerian native wear. And we also have another branch of our company, which is called Vaps Formal. And we make suits for weddings, for engagements, for business meetings, all sorts of things. So everything that we make is custom made. And then we also, the name of our Nigerian native wear is called a kaftan or a senator. That's the name that they give it in Nigeria. And yeah, we've been a company for about what I would say 5 years now, and yeah, I mean that's been my job away from my job, and I love doing it. It's a family-owned business. VAP stands for Victor, Ayodeji, Pelumi, Samuel, which is all of my siblings in the order of age, and so I'm the youngest, and then Victor being the oldest, and so yeah, I mean it's a family-owned business. It's a business that was started as a family, and I love doing it. It's amazing.
Now, Sam, I'm about 5'10", 235 pounds. I know you said it's custom fit, so if you have anything in that range, I would gladly, we got cameras in here, I'll gladly wear that and promote your company as often as you'd like. You just let me know.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. And whenever we make clothing for anyone, we measure you.
Okay.
We measure you, we get your exact sizing and everything. We don't have anything ready-made. We have a few maybe material things such as, like, for example, I have a toiletry bag that's on me right now that we sell. We even make perfume. We even make our cologne. So we have a few ready-made things, but in terms of clothing, everything is custom made. So if you need a fitting or anything, just let me know.
Got you.
Hey, Sam, what's the vibe like around the West leading St. Louis City SC?
Man, nobody was expecting it. We were, though, but other people were not expecting that, and they're finally giving us the respect that we deserve, and they're starting to see that we're no joke, and we're a team that's that you have to prepare for, and a team that will catch you if you're not prepared. So yeah, I mean, it's been amazing to be able to give the fans this amazing year that we've had so far, and obviously there's a lot more to go, but I mean, as a team, we're proud of what we've achieved, but we know that there's so much more that we can achieve. And, yeah, I mean, in the locker room, it's just an amazing vibe. In the facility, it's an amazing vibe, obviously, because, I mean, and like I've said it before, in my opinion, this is the best expansion team so far. It's the best expansion team in their first year. And I mean, it's, that we're showing that to everyone.
Well, we're glad that you are here and experiencing success. Have fun this weekend against Toronto. Thanks so much for the time and continued success with St. Louis City SC.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Sam. Sam Adeniran of St. Louis City SC. By the way, as we mentioned, St. Louis City SC leading the West by 3 points now over Seattle. And LAFC also has 32 points. St. Louis City SC with 35. Toronto is kind of scuffling this year. Inter Miami, and this is before Messi arrives, is at the bottom of the East. Toronto only has 19 points. So hopefully SC can make their way to Toronto this weekend and pick up another W.
Yes, and it's great also just hearing. I always like to hear players' stories and what they have going on behind the scenes, too. I'm looking at his clothing brand right now, which is Vaps Dynasty Clothing on Instagram, and this is amazing. I mean, CD, we got to get you in.
He was
this,
looking good in the postgame, too. He had this like green suit on and everything. He had the DOF kit that he was talking about, the bag, custom. He was looking good.
Coming up next on 101 ESPN, it's our rush hour reset. Skip Schumacher and the Marlins hammered the Cardinals yesterday. What's going on in Miami, and why are they having so much success? That's coming your way on 101 ESPN. Hey, if you are looking for a scrumptious lunch today, I need you to stop by the Fenton Bar and Grill on Rudder Road in Fenton. All you need to do is plug it into your GPS or just head on over to the Soccer Park exit and follow the Soccer Park exit to Rudder Road and make your way to the Fenton Bar and Grill and enjoy some of the great menu items that are there. I'm really partial to there's Caesar wrap, which is absolutely fantastic, and you'll love it too. Order that Caesar wrap, and it's great and fresh for the warm weather here in St. Louis, and have some tater tots with it. And if you want to have a cold beer with buddies for lunch, there's no better place to be than the Fenton Bar and Grill. Say hi to Colleen and Megan and Kelly and Alicia, the greatest servers in town. And if you want a scrumptious meal, it's the place to go for lunch or dinner, whether it's lunch with friends or a business meeting. Maybe you just want to get together for a happy hour. Maybe you want to get together to watch a game. It is the Fenton Bar and Grill in Fenton. And not only are the servers great and the food is fantastic, but when you get to the Fenton Bar and Grill, it's all about sports, and people are going to love talking to you. Tell them Randy sent you when you go to the Fenton Bar and Grill, and you will enjoy it immensely. I do. I try to make it in there as often as I can. So tell them Randy sent you when you go to the Fenton Bar and Grill. It is 9:03 in St. Louis. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler with Brooke Grimsley and Super Bowl champ Kerry Davis. I'm Randy Carricker. It's the opening drive on 101 ESPN. You can see us by going to our YouTube channel at 101 ESPN STL. We'd love to have you join in. Cardinals, as you may or may not know, are 35-50 this year. Oof. The San Diego Padres are 40-46. The San Francisco Giants are 46-40. By the way, we've neglected to mention the Mets, who are 39-46. The defending National League champion Phillies are 45-39. Sitting there with the third best record in the National League, the Miami Marlins, under first-year manager, former Cardinal bench coach Skip Schumacher. The Marlins are 50-37. They're a half game behind Arizona for the second best record in the National League and 8 behind Atlanta in the National League East. Well, why are they so good? And guys, if you look at the Cardinals being bad, the Marlins are the reverse in doing the little things right. Last year, the Marlins had 4 sacrifice bunts all season long. This year they have 15. They've increased their run production from 3.62 to 4.02. They're better offensively. They're running more. Offensively, they're doing the little things. Defensively, they really aren't much better than they were last year. But here's the big thing. We talk about one-run games, and the Cardinals' struggles in one-run games. They're 8-17. The Marlins this year are 20-5 in one-run games. Last year, they were 24-40. It's a pretty substantial difference. 24-40 last year in one-run games for Miami. This year, 20-5 and 5, and that is making clutch plays, hitting in the clutch, having a good bullpen.
It is, and that's the exact opposite of what we've seen from the Cardinals this season. Is you feel like a lot of guys are not rising to the occasion of the moment and what is required of them. And we've seen a lot of these players do it over the years. We know that they have that ability, but it's just not coming together this season. And that's where you can look at a lot of different things that are being exposed right now. I think roster construction is a big part of it, these pieces not coming together as a group. And you also wonder about the coaching staff. I think it is fair to wonder about the coaching staff, and that still is in correlation with the roster construction, because there's only so much that they can do to maximize the talent, but you still should be maximizing your talent every single day and putting them in the best positions, and also finding ways to elevate them. I even look at that Wilson Contreras situation. If we're going to continue to go back and forth about this, and I know that we're going to take a deeper dive into this, it's about maximizing your talent and the situation that you have. You know who he is. You know who these other players are. I would hope so. And maximizing them. And I think the winning culture, we keep talking about that, and it sounds so simple, but it's just not there right now.
Well,
you don't see any pulse of life or anger in these guys. I know they're frustrated. I know they are, but there's a difference between being frustrated and being angry and using that anger towards making a change.
And I thought it was interesting in Derek Gould's piece about Skip Schumacher. It led with him hitting ground balls, like he always did with the Cardinals, to players and putting themselves in situations, in game situations, to make plays. And that's something that Tony La Russa did every day, enforced every day. And Oli spends an awful lot of time with the media. He's got 4 different press conferences that he does. He does radio, he does TV, he does writers, he does other broadcasters. And I think Skip is doing all of the media and probably being a little bit more efficient with his time. But here's the big thing. We mentioned that Miami is so far ahead of the Cardinals. Okay, just at first blush, not thinking about where the Cardinals are right now. Just names on the back of the jerseys, names on the bubble gum card. Wilson Contreras or Nick Fortis?
Wilson Contreras.
Paul Goldschmidt or Garrett Cooper?
Paul Goldschmidt.
Yeah. Luis Ariz or Brendan Donovan?
Luis Ariz.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with
pretty
that
good. Yeah, he led the American League in batting. Gene Segura or Nolan Arenado?
I'm going to go with Nolan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joey Wendell, and I'm going to go with our opening day, Tommy Edman. Wendell or Edman? I'm taking Edman.
Yeah, I'm probably going to Edman.
I mean, Edman spent most of last year in the top 3 and WAR in the National League.
Yes, that is a good point.
And again, I'm going to go with opening day here. Brian De La Cruz or who's Jordan Walker?
In right field?
In left field.
Left field.
Yeah.
I like Jordan.
I think I would too.
Yeah.
And then Jazz Chisholm and Tyler O'Neill, you'd take Chisholm.
I'm going to take Jazz.
And then in right field, Jesus Sanchez or Newt.
Well, we know where Brooke is going with this one.
So I just
nutty neuters.
And granted, pitching wise, you take Alcantara every day of the week and twice on Sunday. He would be the number 1 starter against Miles Michaelis. But then at the beginning of the season, Luzardo and Flaherty.
Based on what I saw yesterday from Luzardo, I'm taking him. I want that guy.
Oh, yeah. Jesus Luzardo has turned into something. But then Edward Cabrera, Braxton Garrett, Yuri Perez, the names don't match up with what the Cardinals have, but the production way exceeds what the Cardinals have.
Yeah.
Well, that means that the players have to play better. Mm-hmm. That's kind of been the theme the entire season, is the guys on the field have to perform better. I can have all of the numbers and the analytics, until my eyes start bleeding. It doesn't matter if the guys aren't maximizing their full ability, and they haven't been doing that all season long. And that's the frustrating part when you watch this team. You know the names on the back. You know you have MVP candidates, MVP caliber players. You had or have a rookie of the year candidate before you sent him down, and he wasn't able to play the entire season. Those guys have been here all season. The pitching has been really the question mark all off season and going into this season, and the pitching hasn't performed well, whether it's the starting pitching or the relief pitching. 17 blown saves now, and the ERA through the roof for the starting pitchers. What more do you want from this team? I mean, you're going to have days where the bats aren't just alive. They aren't awake. But this pitching has been just porous the entire season. It's been bad.
It really has. And going back to that article that Derek Gould has specifically about Skip, there's a quote in there that just really stuck out to me when it comes to Skip. And he talked about, we know that Skip went through many different organizations and stuff like that, but he talked about his influence from the Cardinals and how much that attributes to how he coaches and manages different guys. But this quote in particular is very interesting to me when it talks about his management style. I think it's important to have guys around you who have been in winning organizations that know what winning looks like as well. You get different opinions. I don't want anybody next to me who is just a yes man. I want pushback. That's how I learned.
And Tony La Russa, who had a pretty big baseball brain, he always wanted that too. And that's I would guess, the biggest managerial influence for Skip Schumacher. But Tony did not want people just saying, yes, Skip, that's the way we should do it. And he had voices in his head like Dave Duncan and like Dave McKay and various hitting coaches. And and Okendo, and he would listen to those guys. The classic Mark McGwire story. Mark McGwire's driving down Highway 40 before the playoffs start at the end of the season, before the playoffs start in 2011, and Tony calls him while Mark is on his way to the ballpark and says, we're benching Freeze. And McGwire says, Skip, he's so close, you can't bench him. He said, well, the numbers say that we have to put him on the bench. And McGwire said, no, you cannot bench this guy. You can't bench David Freeze as we head into the playoffs. He's so close. And it was the eye test. It was the expertise, the knowledge of hitting. And Tony relented. And David Freeze had an October to remember. So I think there are some managers that are just so set in their ways, or the front office is so set in their ways in making the lineup, that sometimes the eye test is failed to be recognized, or the pushback when there is a reasonable argument to be made for something else, it's not really accepted.
And speaking of having winners around you, John Jay is a part of the staff for the Marlins as well. And he is quoted in the article too by Derek Gould saying, you see the way we're playing and we've played all year. Watch how guys are playing hard and doing the little things right. And I think that's a direct reflection of Skip.
Mm-hmm. I think it is. And Skip's doing a great job there. And Skip did a fantastic job as a coach in San Diego with the Padres. He was always a really smart baseball guy. And the Marlins made a great choice. And by the way, the Cardinals were not going to choose Skip Schumacher. He was interviewed for the job when Oli Marmol got the job, but I think Oli was the heir apparent once they had the philosophical differences with Mike Schilt. And I don't think Skip had a chance to be the manager. And then last year you weren't going to replace a playoff manager with your bench coach. So congratulations to the Marlins and Kimming for making the right choice.
John Jay was always one of my favorite players here. And I think the analytics might say he wasn't one of the best players to play the position. I think he's one of those guys that they were always trying to find a replacement for, but just was able to succeed and have great success here. And that goes again to what you're saying, Randy. The analytics can tell you one thing, but here's your starting center fielder, and he is a world champion. Like, he's a guy that played a lot of baseball in a Cardinal uniform and did a great job for this team, but yet the analytics would tell you this guy shouldn't be your starting center fielder. You got to get something else. You got to do something better. But he had a stellar career and did a great job with the St. Louis Cardinals.
And I'll never forget Game 6. Cardinals are down 9-7 against the Rangers in the World Series in 2011. Against a left-handed pitcher, and you're right, it should not have been that way. But Descalso is able to reach on a base hit and then not 100-mile-an-hour, 110-mile-an-hour exit velocity, but John Jay works a great at-bat, just a little blooper into left to set the Cardinals up for Loesch bunting, and then Terrio, and then Berkman with the incredible at-bat to tie the game in the 10th. And that was just moxie on the part of John Jay. It had nothing to do with analytics and everything to do with competing.
That's swag. That's something that you can't measure, and that sounds silly, but it's true. I do think that this would be interesting to take a deeper dive into later. Maybe the texters can get in too with this, but what do you think the front office, how they're looking at this? Do you think that they're saying we did what we could do and we don't think that Oli or the coaching staff is maximizing the talent, or do you think that they are taking some more ownership and that they could have constructed this roster a little bit better?
I haven't heard it yet. If they are taking ownership, I have not heard it.
I'm just very curious about how this is being viewed amongst the Cardinals organization.
My guess would be is that they're saying the numbers don't lie. And that this has nothing to do with us or our analytics and everything to do with the players and the physical nature of the players. But it can't have anything to do with us. It's got to be the injuries. It's got to be the fact that we have infielders playing the outfield. It's got to be the fact that guys are hurt. It can't be us. That'd be my guess. All right, that is today's Rush Hour Reset here on 101 ESPN. Coming up, an interesting story broke over the weekend. Michael Kay, the play-by-play man for the Yankees, made an interesting revelation. We'll talk about it next time, 101 ESPN.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here. This summer, I'm taking up a new hobby, one that I know that will last a lifetime, and it's golfing. I'm learning at the best spot in town, that is Family Golf and Learning Center. I've always wanted to learn how to golf, but I was intimidated and thought that it would just be too hard to just pick up and learn, and I didn't even know really where to start. But after my first couple of lessons with RJ and Melissa and just the wonderful staff over at Family Golf and Learning Center, I was actually able to hit it straight and most importantly, feel comfortable out there. I went out the other day and RJ really took the time to break things down for me and go over things over and over again because it was taking me a minute. And that's what they do there at Family Golf and Learning Center. With several pros on staff, they have the ability to help anyone with their golf game. Like if you're like me, just starting out, or you want to improve your game, they provide a friendly and encouraging practice experience for the individual and for the family. All abilities and ages are welcome. So join me in this golf journey today. For more information, go to familygolfonline.com. Learn, practice, play your best golf.
Brooke, Carrie, and Randy, and an interesting revelation over the weekend. Yankees broadcaster Michael Kay, who did the Cardinals' London game on Sunday for ESPN, revealed over the weekend that multiple Cardinal people told him both, I guess, in London and here in St. Louis over the weekend, that Wilson Contreras was calling pitches that Cardinal pitchers didn't even throw. If that's correct, and neither Oli Marmol or Contreras would comment when questioned about it, you have to wonder how bad this free agent signing was. Let's start with this. When the Cardinals benched Contreras, I was under the impression that he was just calling pitches that the Cardinals were unhappy with him calling. Again, we don't know if this is 100% correct, but if a catcher is calling pitches that the pitcher doesn't throw, I would think that that's a problem.
It's a problem, and I'm correct me if I'm wrong. I think they kind of backtracked and said it only happened, once or twice, but with the pitch comm. I do find it interesting, though, that that the information comes out when the Cardinals are playing the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
The person that Wilson Contreras seems the person that seems to have had the most issue with Wilson Contreras is Jordan Montgomery, and his former team is the one to receive that information. That's a bit intriguing.
And their media did go over to talk to Jordan.
And so, and I texted you all this when we were texting back and forth about it. Those are things that when we're in the locker room, those are things that cause real fights. Like, if you are consistently belittling me or talking down about me to other people, and I find out, those are the things in locker rooms where now you have a split in the locker room. You have guys really upset with one another. If there wasn't already friction to begin with, obviously, Wilson Contreras hasn't caught for Jordan Montgomery in some time, but those are the things that it just would kind of trigger something in my brain that, wow, your former team, the team that you played for last year, is the one that comes out with this story. No one else has had this information, but now they do. It would lead me to question some things, and those are the things in locker rooms that can cause some issues.
And maybe before I say this, maybe Jordan Montgomery, if he was one of the parties involved, but if we are just kind of looking at the situation, it makes complete sense that it would be him. And maybe as well, there were others in the Cardinals organization that told Michael about this. But I just want to say shame on anybody who put that out there. One, there's obviously more to the story. Two, there was spring training, and not all the pitchers were a part of that spring training. So you're telling me that this is all just kind of coming to a head, and mistakes do happen. We don't know the full case of this, but seriously, this is still continuing because somebody leaked that out or put that information out without much context, the full extent of the story. Shame on whoever told that to Michael, and I hope they told him not to say it, and that would be very disappointing if somebody told him not to say that and he went ahead and did it anyways, because it's just absolutely ridiculous that this is coming out without the full context, without the full information of the story. That is what I am so frustrated at. And once again, if it is true, I'm just going to say this. That is on the Cardinals organization for making sure that Wilson Contreras is set up for success.
Right.
Is it not?
Right.
Is it not? I mean, you knew who he was. You know who he is. And it's not, I'm not blaming him whatsoever. I'm just saying you should have looked at what the Cubs did in their organization, setting him up for success. You're the ones that pursued him. You knew what you were getting with him. He's not going to be Yachty. You even said he's not going to be Yachty. Don't expect him to. Give him the tools to succeed, and that is going to benefit your team in the long run. You're the one that signed him. Now give him the tools to succeed.
Here's the actual quote from Michael Kay during the broadcast. I found out something. I was talking to a lot of Cardinal people. Again, I talked to a lot of Cardinal people.
I talked to one.
Yeah. The reason that they took Contreras out from behind the plate.
The Cardinals people.
Yeah. The reason that they took Contreras out from behind the plate, he was calling pitches that the pitcher on the mound didn't have. He would be calling for a cutter for a pitcher that didn't throw a cutter. The pitchers were going crazy. And then the quote from Jack Flaherty during this whole kerfuffle was brought up when he said the pitchers were throwing things that didn't make sense. And I thought then it was just the wrong pitches. It may have been pitchers being requested to throw pitches that they simply didn't throw. But, Brooke, to your point, that's the bottom line. Don't blame Contreras. Blame the people that brought Contreras in. And we heard Joe Madden talk about how he had Mike Borzello working with Contreras every single day. And maybe Contreras is a guy that needs everyday preparation. Maybe he's not a guy like Yachty that did all the preparation on his own. To maximize your talent, again, you have to have people that know how to push the buttons and get the most out of a player. And obviously, the Cardinals did not do, if this is indeed the case, the Cardinals didn't do enough due diligence to prepare for having Wilson Contreras as their catcher.
Oh, and I pulled up, as the kids say, some receipts because I just wanted to go back. I went back and listened to the press conference and how much they applauded Wilson Contreras. And even, don't you remember, too, was it the All-Star break last year when Yadi still wasn't around? And, I mean, Mozeliak was even talking about then about how they're going to be pursuing a catcher. They've made it very clear that this is the direction that they were going. So you're telling me that you've been thinking about this for so long and somehow he's the scapegoat in this, even though you're the ones that pursued. You knew what you were getting into. You should have maximized your talent and put him in the best position to succeed. Because guess what? I guess it's come to no surprise. It could affect your pitchers and maybe get your pitchers on the same page with things instead of letting all these kerfuffles happen in the clubhouse. Because what does that lead to? Tension and even more turmoil when you're trying to find some way to build an identity with this group. And maybe that's part of why this group has struggled to find an identity when everybody's pointing fingers.
I think when you peel back the layers and you start to pay attention, the fact that Michael Kay said he calls for a cutter and that pitcher may not throw a cutter. You know who doesn't throw a cutter? Jordan Montgomery.
There you go.
He throws it. He's thrown 11 pitches this season as a cutter. He's a sinker ball pitcher. He's a changeup pitcher, but cutter, not really a pitch that he throws. So if you start to put the pieces of the puzzle together and you start to try to figure out who said what, you know where that information came from. And again, if I'm Wilson Contreras, I am livid. I am livid that you would have the audacity to go tell someone, and then that person, regardless of if you told them, hey, this is just between you and I, we know that it's going to come out eventually. So I'm livid. And then you also have, I mean, you have put Wilson Contreras in a position that is unfavorable for him the entire season. Miles Michaelis came out over his last outing and said, yeah, I'm not doing that again. What is he not doing again? I'm not calling my own pitches. So what I've learned about this pitching staff is they were so reliant on Yadier Molina. He was the A student in the class. He did all of the work, and you all just showed up for the group project and put your name on the paper. Now, Yadier has graduated. You have to do your own homework, and you're relying on a player who is not Yadier Molina. He may not be the A+ student. He might be a C student. But if you all work together, you all can turn in an A project. But yet, they are reliant on someone, and they're not doing their own homework, and they have put him in an unfavorable position to be the scapegoat for their inability to do their own homework the entire season. And then you throw him under the bus to your former team and your former radio people and Michael Kay. I would be livid if I were Wilson Contreras.
Great analogy, first of all. And I'm with you. For me, if this happens and I'm Wilson Contreras, this goes from kerfuffle to brouhaha.
Oh, this goes to hands up. Put your dukes up.
Oh, so we've got chaos.
Oh, chaotic. It is. Listen, Randy, when I walk in the clubhouse, I'm knocking everything over. Gatorades, water cups, tape, rolls, everything gets knocked over. Now, say it again. Because you are intentionally putting me in a place that is not the place that I should be in. I have done nothing but my job the entire season. You all haven't done your job well enough, and you all are accustomed to someone doing your work for you. Now you have to do your work.
So we have just gone right past brouhaha all the way to Rumble.
Yeah, Royal Rumble.
Big time.
It's just a shame. It's like we're saying, it's a shame. That is really disappointing. One, I don't know if Michael Kay got the okay to say that, and somebody told him not to, but also shame on whoever it was from the Cardinals organization, even if it was multiple people, for saying that and continuing that and letting that narrative continue that Wilson Contreras is the sole reason. Anybody who's watched the Cardinals this season knows that Wilson Contreras is far from the issue with the Cardinals.
Exactly.
He hasn't thrown a pitch.
Right. The former Cardinal catcher A.J. Przinsky is going to join us coming up at 9:45. But next up, the All-Stars were named over the weekend, all of the All-Star pitchers and reserves, and the traditionally star-laden Cardinals have only one All-Star. That's coming up on 101 ESPN. Hope you enjoyed the 4th of July weekend. And if you're in South County, hope you had the opportunity to head on over to the newly remodeled Schnucks in Crestwood. It's incredible. I know a lot of people have been out there. They were there for the grand reopening with the St. Louis City SC Street team. And hopefully you went inside to see the new store because it is awesome. And if you didn't get there, haven't been there yet, you need to check it out. There are incredible options in the food hall with Soul Taco and, oh, hey, barbecue and also burgers and bites, which is absolutely delicious. You want a great burger? The Schnucks in Crestwood has a great burger for you. Plus, a fresh pour station where you can go in and have a beer, maybe some wine, maybe a soda as you shop, and you'll see upgrades throughout the store. So you need to stop by and check it out. It's Schnucks in Crestwood on Watson Road. It is amazing, and you'll love it. Schnucks has been serving Crestwood since 1964, and they're going to continue to serve you incredibly well with their newly upgraded and enhanced store. Check out all the new things at Schnucks in Crestwood. Don't forget to download the Schnucks Rewards app before you go, and get shopping in a great fashion with the new Crestwood Schnucks.
This is your Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals got shellacked by the Marlins in Game 2 of their 4-game series, 15-2 yesterday. They'll try to get back in the win column today. It's a 5:40 first pitch. Cardinals between the Marlins. Cardinals, no starter announced just yet. Marlins, though, sending right-handed pitcher Brian Hoeing to the mound. 1-2 on the season with a 3.72 ERA. Hoeing has pitched just 38 2/3 innings. Over the weekend, St. Louis City SC gets back in the winning column with a 2-0 win over the Colorado Rapids. They scored early in the 4th and the 11th minute to coast to that win. They face off against Toronto in Toronto on Saturday at 6:30 p.m. That is your Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
It wasn't too long ago that the Cardinals always had multiple players at the All-Star game. You look at 2012 and 2013. In 2012, you had Beltran there. You had Furcal. You had Holiday and Freeze. You had Beltran in 2013 with Yachty and Allen Craig and Carpenter. Waino and Neshek in 14. Peralta and Molina in 15. You only had one representative in 2016. That was Aledmus Diaz. But Yachty and Carlos Martinez made it in 17. The Cardinals only have one All-Star this year, and that is Nolan Arenado. You could make a case for Paul Goldschmidt being on the team, but that's the only one. Ordinarily, when the Cardinals have not had multiple players at the All-Star game. Somebody that had a reasonable opportunity to be there has been snubbed. I don't think you can put any Cardinal outfielder in the All-Star game. I don't think you can put Edman in the All-Star game. You certainly can't put a Cardinal pitcher in the All-Star game. It's really alarming that the Cardinals are such that they really only deserve, and maybe if they didn't have a requirement for each team to be represented, maybe Arenado. He got voted in, but if you look at numbers, he's not the best third baseman in the league this year. The Cardinals don't really have a guy where you say, okay, he is the best at his position in the National League this year.
No. No. I think that's even an understatement. It's been such a disappointing season all around. And you even talk about defensively. This is not what we have expected or really seen defensively from this group. And could you even say decades? Or, well, yeah, I would say a long time where you've seen this many players underperform defensively. When's the last time you've seen this?
It's unbelievable. I don't remember seeing the defense fall short like this. It did under Mike Matheny, but I don't think that was generally a group that had defensive potential. When you're going like the 2017 team that was so bad, I don't think that group had the same sort of defensive ability that this group has. I mean, you've got a 10-time Gold Glove winner, a Platinum Glove winner. You have Goldie over at first, who's among the 2 or 3 best defensive first basemen in the league. You had 5 Gold Glove winners, and you won the team Gold Glove last year. And all of those guys are still there, but they've all fallen off.
They have. It's been bad all the way around, and the starting pitching has been bad. The fielding has been bad. It just hasn't been collectively, as I said earlier, that just each part of the game has not been collectively there, and they take turns. Some days it's the pitching, some days it's the hitting, some days it's the fielding. Until all of them decide to play a game cohesive and be a part of it together, they're going to struggle. And again, it starts with the starting pitcher. Those guys have to go out and do their job, give you more innings, give you 6-7 innings before that bullpen gets to being fatigued, as fatigued as they have been this entire season.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm looking at last year. You had Paul Goldschmidt, Arenado, Albert Pujols, which remember a lot of people, that was the name that people were upset about because they're like, he hasn't been doing good the first half of the season. But literally him going to the All-Star game is what I felt like propelled him into that second half surge. Ryan Helsley and Miles Michaelis.
Yeah. So you had a really dynamic group there that was doing well all around.
And the only one that's not back, Albert.
Right. And maybe that's part of it. But you need, if you're going to be great, there's a reason that the Atlanta Braves have the best record in the National League. It's because they have 8 All-Stars. It goes hand in hand. Star players and winning goes hand in hand. And right now, the Cardinals, they may have star players, but they aren't playing like stars, and that's killing you.
And who is that on? I mean, is that on the front office? Is that on the analytics? That's on the player to not perform. If you've done it in the past, if you've shown an ability to be an All-Star and have great seasons in the past, and you're not doing it right now, that's on you as a player. You have to perform better, and they aren't right now as a team. Collectively, they are not performing well enough to have enough wins to do well enough to be successful this season.
And something has to happen to get this group of players to perform at a higher level. And coming up, we're going to talk to former Cardinal and White Sox catcher A.J. Pierzynski, who was brought into St. Louis specifically because of his prickly attitude in 2014. And we'll talk to him about the attitude of this club and where he thinks they're headed, what he thinks they need to do. A.J. Pierzynski is next on 101 ESPN.
Hey, it's Carrie. And if you're dealing with pain, I've got some great news for you. My friend Dr. Sheen can help you. You know, the older we get, the more pain we feel in our bodies. And I've been dealing with pain for quite some time. Some days it's my ankles, some mornings my shoulders, my back, my knees. Lately it's been my elbows, and Dr. Sheen taught me about PBM. I thought I'd have to deal with this pain forever until I learned about PBM. What is PBM? It's photobiomodulation. Big word, easy explanation. PBM is light therapy that helps you heal. The light stimulates cells in the damaged area, which allows your body to heal itself faster, decreases inflammation, and helps eliminate pain and discomfort. Even after my first treatment, my elbows started feeling great. I started getting my knees worked on. Those are feeling great. My physical therapist told me that he's noticed so much less inflammation in those spots that I had before, and it is going great. And if you want to feel great like I do, call or reach out to Dr. Sheen today. You can reach out to him online at thesvi.com. That's thesvi.com.
Starting pitchers, they used to drink during the games.
Yeah.
I mean, drink. It wasn't like
one dude. I remember 2005 White Sox. I mean, Mark Burley pitched in the World Series drunk. Came in and got the save. He was drunk. Like, he was full drunk. It wasn't
on start days, guys were drinking?
Not on start. No, I'm saying non-start. No, not on start days.
Just clarifying for everybody.
No, not on start days. But on, you would see a guy in dugout. They'd have a cup, and there was usually an adult beverage in it. They were starting pitchers. They had no chance in the American League to get in the game. They were like, what else you gonna do for 4 hours sitting there?
So why did they pick on his squad when everyone was doing it?
Because it was Boston?
Yeah.
That is A.J. Brzezinski, the former Cardinal, with former Cardinal John Lester on Foul Territory. Airs every weekday from noon to 2 Central Time, and you can subscribe free on YouTube and catch the pod version on Apple and Spotify. And A.J. Brzezinski scheduled to join us momentarily here on 101 ESPN. And oh, by the way, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel and watch us right now at 101 ESPN STL. 101 ESPN STL. We'll be here till 11 today because Tim McKernan not prepared to fill in for us. So, Carrie, Pittsburgh Steelers, pro football. Is there any drinking that goes on?
No, not that I am aware of. I didn't consume any beverages at halftime or pregame. I know Marshawn Lynch said he would drink a shot of Hennessy, but I was not I cramped up too much to put anything else in my body other than water and Gatorade. That's all I got for you. I'm not drinking anything. I would pass out.
That sounds healthy. That seems like the healthy, easier option.
Post game, I'm your guy.
Okay, but it helps with nerves, I'm assuming. So maybe that's the secret sauce for the Cardinals this season, right?
Loosen up a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what else do you have to lose?
Well, at this point, you're 15 games under 500. You might as well try something else.
Difference doesn't make.
Yeah, it's a good thing. We are joined now on the Celebrity Line on 101 ESPN by A.J. Brzezinski, world champion with the White Sox. Also, of course, played with the Giants and the Twins and here in St. Louis. And he is now one of the hosts of Foul Territory every weekday from 12 to 2 Central. And again, you can check it out on YouTube every single day. A.J., this is Randy Carricker. Brooke Grimsley is here. Super Bowl champ Kerry Davis. How you doing this morning?
I am doing fabulous. How are y'all?
We're doing great. We're thrilled that you joined us. And we want to go back at it. I think Matthew told you about the clip that we just played with you and John Lester. It is interesting how the baseball, the culture works that fans are completely unaware of, especially for pitchers that don't have any chance of pitching that day.
It's changed now. It used to be a lot different.
A lot more fun.
A lot more fun for them, not for the people that were having to play. Listen, you're a starting pitcher. You got 5 days to do nothing, or 4 days in between starts, and you have to sit there and watch at the time, 4-hour baseball games. Guys are known to indulge in a adult beverage or two, maybe. We didn't see anything wrong with it. I don't know. I guess it probably, looking back on it, probably wasn't the best idea. But at the same time, they had no chance of pitching. They had no chance of doing anything in the game usually. So, I guess I was just jealous maybe at the time. I don't know.
I think that's fair enough. It can also help maybe with just relaxing a little bit. But I know that you guys have talked about a lot on Foul Territory about Wilson Contreras and the situation with the Cardinals. Have you seen the latest report with Yankees broadcaster Michael Kay, where he talked about Wilson Contreras calling pitches that Cardinals pitchers didn't even know? What do you make of that report?
We said it the other day on Foul Territory. I think it was on Monday, and Michael Case said this on Saturday or Sunday. And to me, it breaks my heart, man, because Wilson's a really good player. And I can't imagine that he would come over to a new team and for the money he did, and he said and did all the right things and then not know what guys throw. I can understand getting confused if there's new guys or something like that, but they got a pretty veteran staff over there in St. Louis, and he faced a bunch of those guys repeatedly. So it's not like he's going to a team, like let's say Oakland, where they've got a bunch of rookies they're running in there. They got a bunch of established dudes. I don't know. I hope it's not true. I haven't seen anybody come out and say it's not true. We had Ryan Helsley on, and he kind of tried to squash it a little bit, but didn't squash it all the way, I guess. Listen, I hope it's not true because I want Wilson. I played for the Cardinals. Obviously,
I really like the organization. And I don't know Wilson that well, but, I mean, gosh, you never want to see anybody struggle. You don't ever want to see anyone blamed. I've been through that game before, and it's not fun. And especially when you signed a long-term deal with an organization, man, it's just not a good way to go. But, gosh, I hope it's not true.
AJ, you caught for a number of years in the major leagues, and it seems like this pitching staff leans so heavily on Yadier Molina. You get a new catcher in. And my question is, how much input do the pitchers and catchers have collectively when going over a scouting report? Or is it solely on the catchers to know what pitches and what batters need to face?
Well, it's weird because in 2014 when I played for the Cardinals, Yachty had gotten hurt, and I came over in the middle of the year and jumped right in. And it's a little bit different because, I just jumped in and was like, all right, I'm just going to immerse myself in Cardinals culture. And again, they had veteran guys. They had Wainwright and Lance Lynn and some other guys over there, and it was like John Lackey hadn't come over yet, but he was on his way, and it was like, okay, let's figure this out. Adam Wainwright's been pretty good for a long time. It shouldn't be this hard. And so we figured it out. And I caught the first day I was in town. Mike Matheny came to me and said, do you want to catch? You don't know these guys. I go, yeah, let's go. I didn't come here to sit. So I jumped right in, and it was great, and we had a great time, and it worked. Now, as far as scouting reports, every team is different. Every team I was on did their scouting reports differently. Sometimes the pitching coach would lead the meeting. Sometimes the catchers would lead the meeting. Sometimes the pitchers themselves would lead the meeting. It just depended on what the organization liked and what they thought was best. Now, the one thing I'll say about Yachty is Yachty pretty much, and I've said this again on Foul Territory, Yachty ran the organization from head to toe. I mean, whatever Yachty wanted, Yachty got. And everyone listened to Yachty. So it's a great feeling as a player if you say, well, you're going to throw this pitch and I know you're not going to shake off. Well, great. And then the pitcher doesn't have to think. The pitcher doesn't even have to worry about it. I mean, they can watch some tape, but at the end of the day, they're like, all right, well, Yachty called curveball. I better throw a curveball. So that's the thing. I think at times the Cardinals were so Yachty dependent that they lost some of their, especially their younger guys, like a Flaherty or someone like that had never thrown to anybody else. It was different. And I think it took some time. And if you remember when Wilson went away and came back, they were doing well again. So I don't know, but yeah, it just sucks. It's just a horrible situation because you never want to see anybody go through that. Again, I went through it, and it sucks.
AJ Przinsky, former Cardinal, joining us here on 101 ESPN. And AJ, you've talked before about when you came in and the personality of the Cardinal clubhouse in 2014 and your conversation with Mo, and you mentioned Lackey, and Matheny called him crusty. It seems now, and I wanted to get your opinion on this, baseball is so process-oriented that guys don't have to do baseball things to make it to the major leagues. And it seems like winning and losing is secondary to exit velo and launch angle and stuff like that. How do you see it? Is that a correct read on my part?
I don't want to go full crusty like you just went. As Mo called John Lackey, like the old guy, bitter old guy. But I'll say this: listen, can you play or not? I think Luis Ariz, who we all know, he's hitting about 385 or 390 around there. Guess who has the lowest exit velo in baseball? Luis Ariz. Guess what he's doing? He just gets hits, gets on base, and causes havoc, right? So I think there's a fine line. I think do harder exit velocity lead to more hits? Absolutely. Now, the problem is with a lot of the high exit velocity guys, they swing so hard they don't make enough contact, so they strike out a ton. And therefore, can the guy drive a guy in from third with less than 2 outs and not punch out? Hopefully. Those are the guys that are special, the guys that can change their swings and do different things in different situations. But I don't know that it's gone that far. I think it starts at the youth level. I know I have a son that's going to be a junior in high school, and he's going through all the recruiting and through the perfect game and the PBR showcases and all that. And at the end of the day, I want a guy that can play. I want a guy, and they're not taught. That's not a knock on any of the coaches. They don't have time because they have 10 teams and they're traveling all around the country, but they don't practice. They don't practice fundamentals. They don't practice base running. And so what happens is guys either get to college, get to the minor leagues, and guess what? They don't know these things. And then a lot of times if you talk to a major league coach now, they will say, hey, guys, we have to coach these guys at the major leagues, whereas before they were taught this stuff in the minor leagues.
So we agree. Okay. We agree 100%.
No. Listen, there's a fine line. There's a fine line. And if Mo called John Lackey crusty, I don't even want to know what he called me because that team in 14, that was like the nicest team in the world. And when I walked in there, I was like, man, y'all should be winning this division by 30 games. And there was a whole list of reasons why we ended up winning it. But gosh, we could have. I mean, that team was a Ferrari. It should have just ran away with it.
AJ, of course, you guys have been talking a lot about the Cardinals. I've seen that you've had Ken Rosenthal on. Where do the Cardinals go from here? Because obviously, we all know the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Are you buying into that the Cardinals will kind of just sell and maybe tear things down at this point?
Have they ever? Have the Cardinals ever torn anything down? Here's a better question. Have the Cardinals ever gone out and just spent a ton of money really fast to get good really fast? And have they ever just said, we're going to tear it down? No. Why? Because the fans expect them to at least be competitive. So for them to have a year like this is really an aberration. I mean, they still have good players. I mean, Goldschmidt, Arenado, Contreras is going to be a good player. DeYoung, I mean, their outfielders, guys, Newbart, all those guys. Some of their pitchers. The thing for me is, where's the starting pitching coming from? Waino is going on the IL, I saw, with something they didn't even tell you what was wrong with him. Flaherty hasn't been great. Michaels has been good. But Matz is now in the bullpen. Libator is a young guy. The bullpen's been better. It's like, all right, well, where do we go? But they need starting pitching. They need swing and miss, and then that's hard to find.
AJ Przinsky, in 4 months, you guys have had over 115 active MLB players on foul territory, and you do a great job of taking us behind the curtain. And I know you saw an opening in media that wasn't being served, and I think you guys, along with yourself, Todd Frazier, Adam Jones, Eric Kratz, have done a fantastic job of taking fans behind the curtain and telling us things that we didn't know before.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. It's been fun. Listen, I was fortunate I get to do Fox games every Saturday. And you get to see guys, but now with the foul territory stuff, you really get to talk to guys for 20, 30 minutes, and they open up because they trust that they're talking to former players, and it's good. If you haven't tuned in or subscribed, tune in. It's free. It's on Stadium 1 to 2 Eastern, and then 2 to 3 is on YouTube every day, and it's a great platform. If you like talking baseball, we get into some other stuff too, but it's mostly baseball with players and writers that are in the know. And we'll be out in Seattle for the All-Star game, and it'll be a good time.
AJ, thanks so much for the time. We appreciate it. Hopefully we can do this again.
Yeah, let me know, guys. You guys have a great show. Thanks for having me on.
Take care. AJ Przinsky, former Cardinal catcher, won the World Series with the White Sox back in 2005. He's been around, and he is, like he said, he walked into the nicest clubhouse he's ever seen, and they needed a little bit of a kerfuffle in that 2014 clubhouse, and they go on a roll and start winning.
A little sandpaper, a little grit.
Yeah.
You got to have a little bit of that. Yep.
Yeah. And
just some energy. It's just something different.
Yeah. And isn't it great to hear about Luis Ariz having the lowest exit velo in baseball? Don't you just love that?
Don't sign him.
No.
What are you doing?
He'll only hit 380.
Just store that information away.
Coming up next, it's rock and roll here on 101 ESPN.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here. This summer, I'm taking up a new hobby, one that I know will last a lifetime. That is golfing. And I'm learning at the best spot in town, Family Golf and Learning Center. I've always wanted to learn how to golf, but always was kind of intimidated by how hard it would be to learn, and I didn't even know where to start. But after my first couple of lessons with RJ and Melissa and the wonderful staff over at Family Golf and Learning Center, I was actually able to hit it straight and most importantly, feel comfortable out there. I went out the other day and RJ just really took the time to break things down for me, and that's what they do there at Family Golf and Learning Center. With several pros on staff, they have the ability to help anyone with their golf game, like if you're me, just starting out, or you want to improve your game. They provide a friendly and encouraging practice experience for the individual and for the family. All abilities and ages are welcome. So join me on this golf journey today. For more information, go to familygolfonline.com. Learn, practice, play your best golf.
It is time now for Rock and Roll, our first Rock and Roll on the YouTube. Just go to youtube.com and type in 101 ESPN STL, and you can watch Brooke, Carrie, Randy, Matthew on the YouTube. We'll be on every single morning, and every single morning, as I do, as you guys know, I wear a tie.
Every day?
Every day. And so if you tune in right now, you can see Randy Carricker.
Every day?
Here, there's my...
Randy, I actually spilled something on my suit today. That's why I'm not wearing it.
That's why you got your shirt.
That's why I'm just wearing a T-shirt.
And you'll be happy to know that with that check that Bill DeWitt sends me every 2 weeks, he's also sent me a Cardinal tie so that I can support the franchise. So
give you any signed memorabilia, any signed items?
Not yet, okay. No. But just
the check is more than enough.
Check is, and the tie. The tie is really priceless.
Yes.
All right. So what do you got on the Rock and Roll?
Well, let's start with some happy things. First of all, I just want to throw.
We're not going to talk Cardinal baseball.
No, we're not. I just want to throw out some congratulations. Foster Moreau, tight end, is in remission from his Hodgkin's lymphoma. Obviously, fantastic for him. Guy who was about to get a huge free agency contract and then got diagnosed with cancer. Still was able to sign a solid contract, but he is in remission from his cancer. And also, Pat Maroon, obviously our son of Oakville, getting traded to the Minnesota Wild. I think that's a good trade for him. And I think the Minnesota Wild are going to be pretty dangerous in the Central this year. I don't like that factor of it, but I'm happy that Pat Maroon, we're going to get to see Pat Maroon in St. Louis a couple more times a year now. It was like one time a year. Now it's what, 3 times a year? Is that how the NHL schedule works?
Isn't that amazing? His career was essentially going to be over.
He was going to start a podcast with Tim McKernan. Right. Because his career was done. And then everything happens to Tampa Bay. He wins 2 cups in a row, and now it just keeps on rolling. So fantastic for Pat Maroon. There also is some questions around the reported yesterday signing of Vladimir Tarasenko to Carolina, because there has not been a single update in the last 18 hours since that was announced. So maybe congratulations to Vladimir Tarasenko and his new Carolina Hurricanes. Maybe. I'm not 100%
What about
sure.
Ryan O'Reilly? Did you already mention that one? Or that's not official yet, is it?
I thought they were right.
I thought that was
Leashfield.
Is it? Is it?
Yeah, that was.
He's a predator.
How do
I
you feel
realize
about that?
here's the thing. It makes me really sad. I think we all knew when Kevin Hayes was brought in that the Ryan O'Reilly deal was not going to work out with him returning to St. Louis. It's just really hard because he meant so much to the organization, obviously, with helping bring a Stanley Cup here. And he's a great person, seriously. Awesome great guy. Person on and off the ice. Him and his family do so much with a lot of different charities, organizations. But I feel like it's very fitting that he's going to Nashville because he has a huge love of music. And he loves to play music. I don't think he's much of a singer, but he just likes to play the guitar. And so it's very fitting that he's going to the Music City. I already tweeted at some Nashville peeps and told them they're getting a great one. So I'm jealous.
How did we never get a Ryan O'Reilly, Adam Wainwright duet?
That's a good question.
Jeez.
That would have been beautiful.
And also, here's some positive in the world of soccer. No, I'm not going to talk about a 1-0 game where certain things happen. No,
stabbing.
No, not that. Not,
there's been a stabbing.
No. Leave Tommy Pham alone. Gary, no more jokes about that.
The text we got earlier said I didn't know Ray Lewis was a Mexican
soccer fan.
Horrible. My God, you guys are bad. We're going to celebrate something happy. The LA Galaxy and LAFC every year when they face off, it's called the El Tráfico Derby, or Derby if you want to be an ass.
Because there's a lot of traffic.
I just call it a derby. So, yeah, I'm guessing because it's in L.A., they call it El Tráfico because there's a lot of traffic in L.A. Yeah. So they played it in the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California.
100,000 people.
82,110, an MLS single-game attendance record to watch Galaxy 2-1 win over LAFC. I mean, that 82,000 people. If you see the picture, too, that is unbelievable. Fantastic for the MLS. It's one thing when you can stack 22,500 ravenous in a smaller stadium, which I love, but to be able to get 82,000 even in LA for a soccer match, absolutely unbelievable. Love what the MLS is doing.
Matthew.
Yes?
Start with this. We've got a texter that says we're supposed to be wordsmiths, okay?
Oh. Did I say something wrong?
No, they're getting mad at me. This person's going back and forth with me.
But
Jesus.
I've gotten this text before. You can't say the MLS. It's just got to be MLS.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the other thing.
No, the other thing. You can't say the MLS.
You can because
the Major League Soccer.
Is that? Yeah, I guess so.
So it's as opposed to the National Football League.
Yeah, I know.
And MLB. It's not the MLB. But it is the NHL because it's a league, a singular.
See, I always knew that with MLB, and I'm good at not saying the MLB, but I hadn't thought about it with MLS.
So now you know via radio. So anyway, that just to get the text.
Are you looking at the other?
You don't need to text. The other one, yeah.
Yeah,
The other thing, I think we all just need to know that sayings are okay to use in conversation.
Okay, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, and one other thing here, Matthew, that I want to do, and I'm going to tee this one up for you. Why wouldn't this game have been played at SoFi Stadium, Matthew? This match. Because their field isn't big enough and they have to retrofit SoFi Stadium to the tune of like $10 million so that they can play World Cup games there.
Well, the good thing is when they originally built the stadium, it came in under budget. So those extra cost overruns aren't really going to hurt anybody, right?
I think it was supposed to cost $2.1 billion.
It cost like 2.5, right?
I think it might have cost like $6.5 billion.
That's a different number.
Yeah, it is than what they originally planned.
Good for them. And I thought this was just.
Can we throw this out here, though?
Go
by the
for
way.
it. It's probably going to be better than what I had.
They forgot that they forgot that there was an airport 5 miles away, and they were just going to build it way up in the air. They had to dig 100 feet into the ground because they literally forgot that there was an airport 5 miles away, and if they build a giant stadium, airplanes are going to run into it.
That's not great.
Something that you might have
cost them a lot. Cost a little more money.
Yeah,
cost a little bit more money to dig down that deep. I'm sure.
Hey, Kerry, $1 billion here, $1 billion there, it starts to add up.
Well, you got billions.
Billion here, $1 billion
he's
there.
okay.
It starts to add up.
I think he's fine, right?
Yeah, he's fine.
Financially?
Yeah, he's fine.
Sadly.
Also, a bunch of NFL players are being suspended for gambling. And again, it's one thing when you're catching the short suspension because you weren't aware of the rules that you weren't supposed to be gambling on basketball while you're getting your knee worked on in the training room. But apparently there's some players out there who think that as long as they're betting on their team to win, I don't see why I shouldn't be able to do that. How 40 years after Pete Rose, are there people walking around going, I don't know why I can't bet on my own sports game?
Just not paying much attention to the way of the world. I don't think they are dialed in. I don't think they are. It's just not a good decision, and poor decisions are made all the time, and it's going to cost a couple of these guys their careers, which is unfortunate, but you made the mistake of doing it. I understand both sides, not the gambling on your own team part. I don't think you should do that. But I do understand football, everything is average. DraftKings, fantasy football, FanDuel. You got so much money coming in from these sport gambling sites. I can understand the frustration from the players, but if they tell you not to do it, then there's the problem.
Here was the quote from Patriots cornerback Jonathan Jones on Twitter this past Thursday. I understand rules are rules, but I can risk my life so that my team wins, but I can't risk $1K on my team winning.
I don't think that's the hill he wants to die on.
Yeah, because you might have some insider information that could help you with that.
Yeah, potentially.
Because you see things at practice.
You know things, but he's betting on his team to win. So,
but still, Brooks right about that factor. Bets.
It would be
inside
worse.
Information, putting money on it moves lines.
It would be worse if you were betting on your team to lose because the star running back banged his ankle up in practice and no one else knows.
Here's the thing. He said I can't bet $1,000 on my team.
Yeah, why can I? But I can't. I can risk my life so that my team wins, but I can't risk $1K on my team winning.
The NFL minimum salary is $750,000.
Yeah,
minimum salary is $750,000. So you're willing to bet $1,000 and risk the $750,000?
Yeah, clearly.
That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make much sense. No.
Yeah.
Also, you like the fact that it's a Patriots cornerback saying it?
Well,
they're going to be. I mean, here's the thing, and I have a good friend that says this all the time. Your game got to be bigger than your problems. If their game was bigger than their problems, they would still be on a team.
You know what happens too is Jonathan Jones gets suspended, and then the coach just goes,
"We're on to Cincinnati."
He doesn't care.
Kerry taking a left shot at Quintus Cephas over there.
Who got suspended?
When Jonathan Jones
Bill
gets
Belichick
suspended.
is saying, he's like, who was that?
He doesn't care about. Yeah, right. He'll just move on. He'll just say,
"We're on to Cincinnati."
There we go. Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, Randy.
Coming up next on 101 ESPN, John Mozeliak said perhaps the Cardinals gave opportunities to pitchers they shouldn't have. Well, who might those guys be? That's next on 101 ESPN.
You have that cut again, the low cut.
Well, it is hindsight, but it's still a fair question. And, you know, I do think that some of the decisions we made, some of the guys we were trying to give opportunities to, it just hasn't worked. And so, yeah, it's very fair to say, well, we should have done more or could have done more, and hopefully you learn from that.
That is the Cardinals' Pobo, John Mozeliak with Tom Ackerman on KMOX on Sunday. And now that I hear the cut again, some of the guys we tried to give opportunities to, my guess is that the people that disappointed them, because they knew that there were going to be questions about their starting rotation, right? We all had the questions about whether or not Waino could stay healthy, Flaherty could stay healthy, Michaelis, who has, whether or not Steven Matz could be healthy and effective, and then obviously Jordan Montgomery has been fine, and we didn't have real questions about his durability. But to back those guys up, when Mo talked about having 6 or 7 or 8 starters, he was talking about Matthew Liberatore. He was talking about Zach Thompson. He was talking about Dakota Hudson. None of the backup plans in the inevitable event that a starting pitcher got hurt have worked out. They've all been big zeros. And yes, the Cardinals did make that mistake. And we talked about it a lot. And I will grant you this. Jose Quintana has not pitched this season. And the Cardinals knew his medical history. But we did talk during the offseason after last year's playoffs about how even with the number of starters that the Cardinals had, they could not go wrong bringing a guy like Quintana back. And you need to have some veteran backup. The Mets did. Now, granted, the Mets have a $400 million payroll. But the Cardinals didn't have enough reliability behind their soon-to-be injured starters to win with what they had.
No, and the thing is you could just say it's lucky that it just happened to happen. Not luck for Jose Quintana, but it's just lucky in a situation where he goes to another team. You didn't win that bidding war if you did try to pursue him, and he doesn't even pitch for them. Then you look great, and you can say, well, I mean, at least we didn't spend money on somebody who isn't playing currently for another team right now. But there's other names out there that were intriguing, and we even talked about a little while ago. Rangers pitcher Eovaldi.
Nathan Eovaldi.
Yeah, that was a very interesting name that could have been a possibility for the Cardinals to pursue. The fact of the matter is that you have to do something moving forward, because in past years, we've seen them do this, right, where they go get some pitchers, and you're like, who are these guys, and why are we getting these guys? Some of them older, and luckily Monty and Jose Quintana worked out for them last season. But you don't have that blanket of security going into next year. And if we're looking ahead, which I think we all are right now, we're turning the page. This season is what it is. I know that you try to say, like, the Cardinals, they get hot in the second half of the year. I haven't seen anything that gives me much hope right now, especially recently. And you have to start thinking about next season and putting those pieces together for the starting rotation. And it's not something that can be just like a little Band-Aid to get you through the rest of the season. It has to be addressed for 2024.
I guess my question is, what are those pieces? Is it Liberatore? Is it McGreevy? Is it Graceffo? Who are the pieces that you are going to have confidence in for next year? We already talked that Jack Flaherty more than likely won't be back. Jordan Montgomery won't be back. Adam Wainwright won't be back. That's 3 spots in that starting 5 that you're going to have to fill. And where do you fill those spots? Is it via trade and getting prospects from another organization? Is it getting a pitcher that can come in and be that starter? We don't think that Steven Matz is going to be a starting pitcher for this team again. I don't know. I mean, or do you give him another try because you are paying him $11 million a year? Is that the mindset that you have? Who do you know right now? Miles Michaelis will be here next year. Who else do you know is going to be in this starting rotation going forward for the next season? Who do you trust?
The only guy I trust right now is Michaelis, and that's the only guy the only reliable guy I have under contract, right? That's the only one.
If the issue this season has been starting pitching, what is going to lead us to believe that that's not going to be the issue next year as well?
So maybe the first thing the Cardinals need to do is overpay for Jordan Montgomery to keep him around. Okay, you figure you're going to have a young pitcher or a rookie starting next year, whether it is McGreevy or Graceffo or somebody else. So then you need to fill 2 holes in your rotation, and you can go free agency, or you can go trade, or you can count on the other from among Graceffo or McGreevy. I wouldn't count on that because I don't develop pitchers as well as Atlanta does. Atlanta loses Max Fried this year. Well, they lose 2 world championship pitchers in Fried and Kyle Wright. But they've got 24-year-old Bryce Elder sitting there 7-1 with a 2.45 in his 17 starts, which leads the team. Spencer Strider, rookie of the year last year. Amazing again this year, 10-2 with a 3.66. But then they've got a kid named Jared Schuster, who's made 9 starts and is 4-2. They've got Dylan Dodd, who's made 5 starts. He's 2-1. Now, they don't have the best earned run averages, but they've got a great offense. What the Cardinals need to do, in my opinion, is this. They need to get 3 guys that they feel like they can count on, and one of those needs to be a front of the rotation guy. I think that's of paramount importance, that they get a number 1 to go against other teams' number 1 and lead the way for your young pitchers.
Follow-up question. How comfortable do you feel with them and their ability to evaluate a starting pitcher, a free agent starting pitcher?
I can't feel good about it because I've got Steven Matz on my team. I gave him 44/4. I can't. I let Jose Quintana walk away. Now, granted, he hasn't pitched again. I'll say that. But
hindsight's 20/20 with that, though.
It is. But when you look at what the Cardinals have done historically, under this administration, they signed Mike Leake to a big money contract. They let Lance Lynn walk away because they didn't like Lance Lynn anymore. I would say that their history doesn't give them the benefit of the doubt in making free agent pitcher moves.
And even when you look at relievers, you think of Cecil, you think of, Andrew Miller. Yeah.
It's just raining.
So does that
send pain through you?
Awful.
I'm looking at Jordan Montgomery. I think there's no way in the world he resigns here next year.
No.
And I think the only way that he would resign here is if the Cardinals are far and away the best offer that he has on the table. If it's even close, I don't think he comes back here next year because of what we've seen transpire throughout the entire season and knowing that the catcher that you've had an issue with in Wilson Contreras is signed for 4 more years after this year. So I don't think that Jordan, I think you can scratch that off of the table. I think you can scratch Jack Flaherty off unless, again, the offers are similar or the Cardinals have the best offer on the table. Jack, I would say more than likely than I would say Jordan.
Carrie, Brooke, here is a scary and sad perception that I have. I don't know if it's real, but this is the way I perceive it. I think Jordan Montgomery is too competitive to be compatible with the Cardinals.
I don't think that's it.
He doesn't want to come out of games. He's infuriated by not being able to throw over 100 pitches. They take him out when he's pitching well. He's openly frustrated. The other day, when Oli was coming to get him, he went to the other side of the mound.
At some
I think
point,
that's a competitive nature.
But that's my thing.
At some point, he's going to go out there and he's going to be able, if he were to stay here, which, again, I don't think he will, but if he were to stay here, there's going to be a point where Oli does come to get the ball and Oli leaves without getting the ball. If that comes with time, that comes with trust, that comes with giving the guy the opportunity to talk his way into staying into the game and trusting him enough. It just... Regardless of what the analytics say, you're going to have to trust your gut in some points in games. And sometimes it's going to bite you in the butt and they go, well, we knew that it shouldn't happen. And then sometimes it's going to work out and you're going to say, well, screw the analytics. Don't worry about it.
By the way, can I make one quick point? One of the reasons that Max Scherzer had no interest in going back to the Dodgers was because they wouldn't let him pitch, because they took him out. They didn't want him to have that third time through the lineup because he wanted to compete and they wanted to go with their numbers.
I think something else to add to why I think Montgomery and Flaherty won't stay here is this continuation of this narrative with Wilson Contreras being a scapegoat. I think, of course, we don't know for 100% certainty, but if you're reading between the lines with these reports, it seems like who are the two who have had the most frustration with Wilson Contreras?
Montgomery and Flaherty, right?
And he's going to be here for 5 years.
Yeah.
He ain't going nowhere.
He's not going anywhere. Do you think that also will factor into Flaherty and Montgomery's decision?
Based on what we think we know, and with the fact that Ivan Herrera is down at Memphis and pretty close to being ready, can you afford to catch Wilson Contreras unless you change the dynamic of your coaching staff and do it like Joe Madden did with Mike Borzello, preparing him every single day? Matthew?
I also have the other question, which is if his career OPS is average for a DH spot, can you DH him for 100 games? If he's just an average DH?
He's going to play.
He is going to play. Whether it's DH or the outfield or something.
What you think. He's going to play somewhere.
Yep.
It's going to be behind the plate. It's going to be he's going to play every day.
And if they would do the unthinkable and move Goldschmidt, you'd move him over to first.
There you go.
I just think it would be, if that's the way that they are going to go about things, and that's just them throwing in the towel with Wilson Contreras of not trying to give him, once again, the right tools to maximize his talent, what is that going to look like to other potential people down the road of you're trying to court and bring into your organization? What does that look like?
Not great.
Not great at all. No, it's not good. This is a balloon party. Tim McKernan not able to fill in for us today.
We're the opening drive party.
We are, and we are on the YouTube machine. Let me check. Are we still on the YouTube machine?
Yep.
We are.
Still rocking and rolling.
Hi, YouTube. And so we want you to stick with us. We've got another half hour coming your way. And next up is Rock's Hill to Die On 101 ESPN.
Oh, yes.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Yesterday, the Cardinals shellacked by the Marlins 15-2 in Game 2 of their 4-game series. They'll try to get back in the win column. Today, it's a 5:40 first pitch between the Cardinals and the Marlins. No starting pitcher announced yet for the Cardinals today, but they will face off against the righty for the Marlins, Brian Hoeing, 1-2 on the season with a 3.72 ERA so far this year. And over the weekend, St. Louis City SC back in the win column, a 2-0 win over the Colorado Rapids after early goals in the 4th and 11th minutes. That is your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
That is a take. It's a strong take. It's one of the best takes ever.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
That's my opinion!
Well, opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one.
He's out of line, but he's right.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just like your opinion.
Well, Matthew Rocchio doesn't really have strong takes, so there's really no hill to die on for Matthew Rocchio today. What do you got for us? What benign vanilla take do you have for us today?
Hills that rock will die on.
I'm going to get some support from this one, but I'm obviously going to get some hatred. I'm just going to... Listen, I have a very specific point, but I'm going to give you my wider viewpoint.
Okay.
America is better than parades and fireworks as our way to celebrate things. We have to figure out a better way to celebrate things than boring-ass parades and annoying-ass fireworks. There's got to be a better way. I'm 100% on Carrie's point from earlier in the show. The people who were blowing off fireworks yesterday after like 11 p.m., what are you doing?
Go to bed, man.
Go to bed. Stop being stupid with it. If you want to have some fun when the sun's still out, I'm fine with it. If you want to go to, your big fireworks celebration at the end, fine. I can be okay with it. It's stupid, and I just think we can come up with something a little bit better than just blowing off fireworks or driving around in a big circle. We got to figure out something better.
So if you have this issue, what is your solution? Because if you take up the issue, I like solutions.
I'm with you there.
What is it?
I personally think that giant street parties are the way to go.
Giant street
parties. That's the same thing.
But get the fireworks. Why do I have to get the bus out of there? Stop having this weird stop having the parade. It's no, I'm out. I'm sorry. Stop it.
Get out of here. I love the floats.
No.
And then people waving. I mean, that's
people
beautiful.
Waving. That's your definition of let's celebrate a huge moment in this city, in this country, in this time.
You just want people to stand on the street and hang out together.
You want to have a party.
Better. Block parties are better. Block parties are 10 times better than fireworks and parades. 100 times better.
You kind of do that, though, with a parade, is what I'm saying.
Only on sports parades. Only with sports parades.
Parade feels like everyone's watching, as you said, the people on the float doing their wave.
And sometimes they throw out candy. And
Hey, our station used to regularly do the Mardi Gras parade, which was a lot of fun. Mike Ryder, I believe, met Noor at the Mardi Gras parade.
Really?
Yep.
Mardi Gras parade of all places.
Clearly, Rocchio is not Irish and hasn't been to the St. Patty's Day parade, which is just glorious fun. Have you been to the Dogtown one?
Yes.
So, how could that not be fun? And here's the other thing: have you ever heard these words in a song? The rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air.
I am
America.
I am okay with fireworks.
Just not late at
11 p.m.
Yeah.
Stop.
He doesn't want any fireworks.
I'm cool with it at a baseball stadium with a home run.
Okay.
That's about it, though.
You only want it at a baseball stadium?
Only because I discovered that the Cardinals. I heard this the other day on the radio. TMA was talking about this. They fire the fireworks off when the player touches each bag. I had never realized that before. And I actually really like that kind of synergy with that celebratory moment. And again, everyone's sitting in the stadium, everyone's watching at home. You can't do anything else than fire off some fireworks. That's completely reasonable in the moment. I'm just saying, we have an entire year. We've been celebrating this celebration for 200 years, and we haven't figured out something better than fireworks in a parade?
But they're cool. They go boom.
Again, they're not, though.
They are. I want my fireworks everywhere. At Fallout Boy concerts.
No.
Ryder was there. Lots. Nickelback? Yes, I want fireworks for my Nickelback concert.
I want pyrotechnics. I'll put a line between pyrotechnics and fireworks.
Okay,
I want fireworks everywhere.
95 degrees, multiple people sweating, and you want to just make contact with these people at like a packed street party? Is that it? You just want people sweating all over you?
Listen, I've been to the Dogtown parade before, but at no point was I actually within 100 feet of a street where a float was going down. I was just in Dogtown doing exactly what I'm suggesting we do, which is just having a street party.
I'm sorry.
That's all I'm saying.
Oh.
We got to figure out something better.
The fireworks I'm okay with. After
Gary. Come with me.
until 11 p.m. You got to stop at that point. Like you got to stop somewhere, and 11 p.m. should be your cutoff.
Like back when we used to do a full-fledged, I know it's going to come back, but when there used to be a full-fledged Fair St. Louis,
yes,
undoubtedly the lowest highlight of Fair St. Louis is at the end. Everything else leading up to that is a better way to celebrate July 4th in St. Louis than the ending fireworks show.
Well, I mean, some people, there are some idiots out there that hurt themselves doing fireworks, so that you have that.
Why did you call it Jason Pierre-Paul like that?
I didn't mention him. There's some people that...
It's a big day for ERs in the area.
You think that
doctors need work too is what Randy's saying.
Do you think they wake up 4th of July morning like, yep, all right, folks, get yourselves ready. It's going to be a good one.
Yep, we're gonna rebuild some hands
put
today.
Some hands, stitch some hands to some abdomens and grow them back. That's the new thing, right? They're starting to stitch body parts to their stomachs.
Bottom line, Carrie, Matthew, is that we're closing in now on 250 years, right? In 3 years, we're going to be 250 years old.
Oh, yeah.
It's the way we've always done it. We did it. We did fireworks and parades in 1776.
Let's not go there. There's some things we've always done that we need to change.
Somebody just quoting John Adams, and I'm just like, well,
yeah. But I don't think we need to change the essence of the party.
Okay. Well, I am in agreement there, but if we are going to
I get where you're coming from. Sure, I get it.
You don't like parades?
I'm on board with parades. I've been in parades. I like parades.
Okay.
And fireworks. I don't know why Matthew hates
parades,
the idea.
Fireworks, and beer. America.
I love the text we get during this segment of my favorite thing. He is an idiot. California has largely banned fireworks due to fire hazards. Move there if you don't like it.
Well, so that's because they have wildfires.
You explained why they banned it, and you're telling me that's a bad idea? Burning down the state. Burning down the state is a better idea.
I think that
would
makes
never
sense.
happen if they would sweep the floor of the forest.
They get a broom and
sweep.
What are you guys doing?
Sweep the floor of the forest.
He said sweep the floors, the floors of the forest. So sweep the floor. Sweep the floor of. Oh, man, what? And you want me to take?
Hey, CD,
oh my God!
It works for Finland.
Rock. We just get people out there with brooms. Just sweep it. It'll go away. It won't happen
we've got
anymore.
off the rails here.
Rock, no one knew you were an anti-American person before this. WTF? Giant street parties turn into giant street fights. What is wrong with you?
That's
wrong.
America for sure then, right? That's America.
Fist fights.
Does Rock just sit at home and come up with these takes that will not only irritate Randy, Carrie, and Brooke, but also most of the audience?
Yes. This is why it's his hill that he dies on.
You guys think it takes me long to think of these?
I know it doesn't.
You guys are an easy crowd to poke.
You have these stored away, ready.
But here's the thing. We do appreciate your takes because they're very unique to you.
Yep.
And we love that about you.
We do. And here's the other part of this is I'm sure that on the 4th of July, Rock prefers to avoid hot dogs and hamburgers at all costs.
What does he eat on the 4th of July?
I had a hot dog that was
Italian
so
sausage.
Good. I had my plate was literally your guys' draft. It was ribs, mac and cheese, and a hot dog.
Well done.
Very intelligent man there.
Well done.
I'm just saying.
Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, Randy.
That's Rock's hill
I just
to
love
die on.
that everyone gives me just fodder for the next hour that I just get to chuckle at. So I appreciate everyone out there texting in. I really do.
So, hey, you might think there's nothing to look forward to when you tune into the Cardinal game tonight, but I'm going to give you something to look forward to next on 101 ESPN.
Oh, man. Oh.
Hey, guys, I'm thinking that we might get to see Oli Marmol at his managerial best tonight because I'm guessing that the Cardinals are going to have a bullpen game, and he's going to have to manipulate the pitching so that he probably uses 6 or 7 pitchers, maybe more, depending on how they perform. And I think it's going to be really interesting because I don't know. Maybe the front office will be able to map it out for him, but I think it's more difficult to map out how 7 pitchers are going to perform than 4 or 5.
Alec Burleson get another opportunity?
Yes.
I hope not.
Last 6 days, Alec Burleson 2 appearances, Jordan Hicks 1.
Some people were talking about this on social media. Remember last season when it was kind of fun when a position player would come out and pitch when you had Albert and Yachty, and it was like, oh, this is funny. It's not funny anymore. It's painful. It's very painful at this point.
It's not great.
Now, we should note that in Zach Thompson's last outing, which was the 29th, so he would be eligible to pitch tonight. He did go 4 2/3. He allowed 2 runs on 4 hits. So maybe Zach Thompson is your pitcher tonight. Maybe he arrives from Memphis and is back in the good graces of the Cardinals and gets an opportunity to start.
We didn't talk about this. Is he the 5th starter now, or is Matz moved back up into the rotation? Who is your 5th starter with Waino going on the IL?
If I have Zach Thompson come up tonight and pitch reasonably well, I'm going to go with the last thing I saw. And the last thing I saw as a starter was him being better than Liberatore, him being better than Hudson, him being better than Matz as a starter. But they're going to give Matz another opportunity because of the contract, right?
Yes.
That's why I asked.
Yeah.
They have multiple contracts not working out in one season.
Yeah. Not great.
Not great.
Can I
go ahead. I just want to make one quick point. Mm-hmm. Because they did lose 15-2 and they've lost 14-0, and we talk a lot about the starting pitching. The Cardinal offense sucks.
Yes.
We focus on the pitching a lot because pitching is how you ultimately win, but this offense is just terrible.
I will say, though, with starting pitching, and I said this last week, they're the ones setting the table, setting the tone of the game. And look, I know that this offense has shown they have the ability at times to claw their way back, but how demoralizing is that when you see that the lead is already that much by the opposing team, and you're like, oh, great. Again, we gotta find a way to claw our way back into this one.
Well, let me tell you something. If you're down 3 to 4 runs in the first inning,
you're
day.
like, well, what am I doing?
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
It's really frustrating.
Do you think it's more surprising to him at this point now in the season when they when the lead isn't given to the other team so easily?
It's probably like, we got a clean sheet.
Well,
we got a clean inning.
That's
okay.
That goes back to whether it's your catcher or your pitching coach, the first inning game plan. And let's put 2 days ago on Michaelis, right? Because he was calling his own pitches. But at some point, when your pitchers are getting hit early, somebody on the other side is seeing what you do, and they're able to succeed. Because not only are the other teams scoring runs against the Cardinals early, but they're hitting the ball hard against the Cardinals early. So maybe the Cardinals aren't mixing things up enough in the first inning to get the other team off balance.
Or maybe they're just not good enough, Randy.
Well, that could be, too. But Michaelis settles down.
Well, then, I had the theory the other day, and it didn't work out. It lasted one day because then Adam went out and pitched well in the first inning and just stunk it up in the second inning. I said we should just, the first inning doesn't count. It just tell them it's the start of the second inning for most of the pitchers on the staff, and then they'll pitch well. They'll perform well.
Yeah, this will be an interesting stretch here for the Cardinals, and I'm really intrigued by what happens after this trip. They've got 3 in Chicago over the weekend, and we can all agree that the Cardinals now need to look towards 2024, right? Yes. 2023 is over.
11 and a half back?
Yeah.
So, Zach Thompson was supposed to be a starting pitcher for next year. So
that's true.
They got to start figuring it out.
Is there any good reason for the Cardinals to do anything at the All-Star break when they haven't done anything when they still had a chance?
In terms of moving people?
Coaching staff, manager, players, big deals. If you weren't going to do it when it could have helped you actually get to the playoffs, why do it at the All-Star break?
I don't think that relieving a position coach of his duties is going to change or shift anything at this moment.
I don't think so either. So my guess is the next time we see the Cardinals make a big move
will be this offseason.
Well, I think they might do some at the deadline, yeah.
Over under 3.5 players traded.
Total by the Cardinals?
Yeah.
I'm going to go under.
Do you have those names?
I would go numbers 22 and 47.
Those only two?
Unless they can get somebody to take O'Neill off their hands. And I mentioned earlier in the show, I was listening to the Marlins radio broadcast yesterday, and they specifically brought up the name of Tyler O'Neill as a player that the Marlins might be interested in to play center field.
And I proposed the trade of Luzardo for O'Neill
to the Cardinals, and I think that's fair.
It just makes sense. It makes sense. What about Paul DeYoung?
That was the name that I was thinking.
Well, Tyro Estrada, the second baseman for the Giants, went on the IL over the weekend with a broken hand. The Dodgers still haven't gotten any production out of the shortstop position. I could see both the Giants and the Dodgers being interested in Paul DeYoung.
There you go.
So, and by the way, he's played in the playoffs. He's been at one point a reasonably productive offensive player, and we do know that he can play defense. And once you get to the playoffs, you need to be strong defensively up the middle. So I would be surprised if there weren't teams interested in Paul DeYoung, but that still only gets well. I would get to the over then if somebody would take O'Neill off their hands.
At this point, yeah. I mean, but what is his trade value?
Nothing.
Right.
No,
that's my question. What are you getting in return?
You're getting nothing back. But you know what? It's they don't seem to be enamored of Scott Boras clients at this moment, and O'Neill's kind of checked out on them, right? He spent a lot of time away from the team, and they talked about the fact that he wasn't in the clubhouse. I don't know that he and Oli are necessarily on the same page. I would suggest probably not. So that might be a situation where it's just addition through subtraction, and you just go get an A-ball lottery ticket.
Yeah. At this point, I think that relationship with Tyler O'Neill, to your point, and then you add arbitration even before that with what he was very open and honest about that and how difficult it was for him. At this point for the Cardinals, I think you're moving on from Tyler O'Neill. I think we all can agree that Paul DeYoung, you're going to try to get something out of him, especially while he's valuable at the moment. And Jack Flaherty and Jordan Montgomery, I just highly doubt that they are going to be here next season, so you try to find value in them.
Just like the Blues, right? With Tarasenko, O'Reilly, Barbashev.
Yeah. And I've seen so many people say that maybe we're kind of underestimating how much you can get back for Jordan Montgomery.
He's a 6'6" left-hander who was brilliant in June and has pitched very well. He has great stuff. And everybody knows about the Cardinals coaching staff, and everybody's going to say, I can get more out of that guy than the Cardinals can, because everybody seems to get more out of former Cardinals than the Cardinals do. It's just the Cardinals. It used to be a situation where guys always played their best with the Cardinals. Now it's almost 100% reversed.
I don't like that. And I also don't like it. Of course, happy for Skip, but then also seeing those quotes about, how he has taken so much learning from the Cardinals. And you're like, that's something I would hate to see leave the organization. I don't like to see people taking the good Cardinals way and taking it to other places.
No, it's demoralizing as a Cardinal fan who has watched this for such a long time. And by the way, the team in the 70s, they couldn't run. They didn't have any speed, but they did play good defensively, played well defensively. And obviously under Whitey, under Joe, under Tony, they played well. And then things disintegrated a bit under Matheny. Shiltz brings it back, but then to see it disintegrating again and them just not doing the things that for most of my life now I've seen them do positively, it does get a little bit disheartening. And I wish there were more urgency, but the fact of the matter is we've seen nothing as fans with access. We've seen and heard nothing that would lead us to believe that the Cardinals are going to show any sense of urgency at all.
Yeah, I mean, something's going to happen at the trade deadline. We just don't know what it would be. And again, I think Mo said it last week, just the conversation and how it sounded as if there was preparation for 2024.
Yeah, that's
2023 is a lost cause.
OVER.
Yeah, I've been holding out hope, Randy. I think most Cardinal fans have. But when you see the performances night after night, just not getting the job done, 17 blown saves now, it's not a recipe for success.
This is like a Pirates team for the last 30 years that has a couple of good players. That's what it is. That's what they're playing like, because they'll have their moments, but they just aren't good. Their moments are the aberration rather than the poor play being the aberration. The good moments are the aberration for the 2023 Cardinals.
And you don't see any signs of these guys buying in fully into turning this around. They're, of course, frustrated, but frustration and having that anger and channeling it towards finding ways to win, that's what it feels like is missing.
I felt like I saw it in that first game in Miami. I felt like there was a little bit of oomph. Yep. And then they lost.
Then
it's like they know what's coming.
I wish y'all could have been in my house when Palante came in the game. I said, ugh.
Yep.
Before he threw his first pitch. I was like, oh. I just had a sick feeling.
We all knew what was coming.
Yeah, not the most reliable bullpen we've ever seen.
No.
Can I tell you one other quick story here? we have BK and Ferrario minus BK, I think something might be going on. But let me tell you this quick one. 2003, the Cardinals, and I've told this before, but it's illustrative. So the Cardinals, Walt brings in Pedro Borbon Jr. and Esteban Yan, who, by the way, sweated more than the Big Sweat. And they're brought in to help fix the bullpen. And so Tony goes out, and they both suck. Tony goes out, and he brings in Esteban Yan, and he's walking back to the dugout, and he looks up at Walt's box, and you know that he was saying, okay, if you're going to give him to me, you're going to have to watch him. and that's what Oli needs to do now. Hey, if you're going to give him to me, you got to watch him too.
There you go. You want him.
A few years ago, the Marlins fired their manager, and they made their general manager manage the team, Dan Jennings.
Really?
Don't we love that idea?
I would pay so much money to see that.
Bow tie?
Yeah.
Bow tie in the dugout?
Yeah.
Does he have a jersey on?
With a bow tie on it?
Yeah, with a bow tie on it. Yeah, we'll see. Great job today by our producer, audio engineer, Matthew Rocchio.
Pleasure.
Brooke, this was fun. First day back on screen. You like it?
Yeah. I got away from TV to get away from the screen, but here it's just continuing to follow me.
Oh, the fans, they love you. CD.
Man, hey.
You can watch all of our live and local shows on YouTube at 101 ESPN STL. We thank you for tuning in, texting in, and being a part of this hump day for everyone. Until tomorrow morning at 7. Have a great day, St. Louis.
That's right.